one time. I got no problem with their fans.
When's the next time you're going to have a game of that magnitude, in their backyard?
Yeah, I mean, their home games remaining are Arizona State, Utah, or Washington State, so it won't be this year. I have no problem with it, man. I mean, that's as big a win as Washington's had in a very, very long time.
Did y'all see Joel McHale?
I did. Yeah. I liked him. I thought he was pretty funny.
I think he's funny, but was he in the crowd? I never saw them re-show him.
Oh, once he inside the stadium?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw him as guest picker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I never saw him inside the stadium. I saw him as guest picker, too.
Yeah, the funniest line was when he got up there. He said they were joking about his body paint. He goes, "I'm wearing almost as much makeup as Kirk Herbstreit right now." That's a good line.
Kirk didn't like that either.
He did not. He didn't laugh as much as I thought he would.
He dogged out the Oregon civilians, too. That was pretty funny.
He did. I really, there's a lot of things about that show that bothers a lot of people, but I like the kick that they're doing now for that McAfee's putting up more and more money every week for a student to come and make the kick. I think it's over $60,000 now. That kid boomed it, but it just was drifting left from the start.
Yeah,
was a
no. That's a cool thing, but outside of that, they're just trying way too hard.
Yeah, I think that kick usually happens while we're doing our morning show, and I'm watching it while one of us is making a point about something. I'm glancing over my computer screen, taking a glance in it, just sitting there in a mango daze.
It happens.
Why mango? Why did it come up with mango? Why?
I don't know.
Sounded tropical.
It's mango.
Well, who came up with the word nasty? I don't. These things just come out.
The old mango days. All right, that's our show today, but don't go anywhere. You don't have to change anything. We're going to go into overtime with the Nick Sabin news conference and the Hugh Freeze news conference as the hated Vols and the hated Kiffins come to home stadiums in our state here in a second. So we'll do that. Don't forget to go check out lanceslock.com for all the baseball and football plays today. lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com. Get great deals there. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting NextRound.store.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting NextRound.store.
The Next Round golf cart is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Cart for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, live show now as we get going on this Tuesday, October 17th. And Monday Night Football, couple of baseball games to react to here, and then we'll get to a full Tuesday night slate of college football. I'm Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Rockstar, Forster, Tyler Lunsford, Taylor Korn, obviously handling everything in the command center at Next Round Live. Like and subscribe everywhere, and don't forget at Disrupt the Media, also on YouTube, to go along with this Next Round channel where some of you are watching this morning. I don't know what it is about the Chargers, man. I don't know what it is about the Chargers. They're a good football team. They're 2-3.
I keep being told that every year.
No, I think they've got a ton of talent.
Yeah.
And they can't put it together. And I knew there was going to be different narratives coming out. And one of those narratives is Justin Herbert in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 2-3. They've lost all 3 games by 3 points or less. So very easily could be, 5-0. 4-1,
could be
3-2, but they're 2-3.
They could also be 0-5.
Some of them are coaching. Some of it's coaching, I think. LT.
Brandon Staley is getting heat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the Dan Lanning approach sometimes on fourth downs. I texted you guys.
He's always been like that.
Last night, I'm like, dude, just take the 3 points. I mean, you're in the first half here. Just take the 3 points.
Would 3 points have mattered in that game, you think, Jim?
Yeah. What was the final, Brown?
Was it 20-17, Lance?
It was.
17.
Oh,
20 minus 17 is what?
Well, that's 3, Jim.
Yeah.
That's overtime. That's what I call that.
Unless you go to the Dan Lanning School of Coaching, which apparently Staley does.
But you're
14
interceptions since 2020 in the fourth quarter, the most by any quarterback in the NFL.
That's a terrible record.
14 fourth quarter interceptions.
Yep.
That's bad right there now,
That's
Lance.
a stat.
Yeah.
Cowboys win it last night. I don't think the Cowboys played great. It was a hard watch. Beautiful venue. I just love games there. Beautiful venue. A lot of stars come out to those games, even the Chargers games. I don't understand Cowboy fans. They take over that stadium, but when they play home games, other teams take over their stadium. I guess there are more Cowboy fans who like to see their teams. They live in other cities that they're Cowboy fans. So when you come to my city, I go support my Cowboys because I don't get to go every day. But
no rhyme or reason. I like old school venues like Lambeau and Arrowhead and Buffalo, where you know that you're walking into enemy territory.
Like last night's game, though, the Cowboys win it. Do you feel good about this Cowboys team down the stretch?
I do not. I mean, they've got, so again, it's a lot like the Chargers. They got some really good parts, but they just seem to struggle to put it all together at the same time.
Well, I thought it was spot on, though, when Buck and Aikman said, Micah Parsons, called his name. And then he almost decapitates Herbert, and that really was what put them behind the 8 ball, and ultimately next play throws the interception to Stephon Gilmore.
Next to last play of the game for the Chargers was that big Micah Parsons play.
Yeah, so Micah Parsons stud. Trevon Diggs is what everybody's talking about. Some people believe, and I don't believe this because they lost 42-10 to San Francisco, that they would be undefeated if Diggs didn't go out for the year. I don't think they're going to be able to consistently run the football. Pollard had that one play on the Dak Prescott scramble, and Dak had 2 incredible scrambles last night.
Unbelievable.
And that's the good Dak that we see at times.
The touchdown, almost a fumble, but him to pull that back out and take it around the corner was a great run by him.
Yeah, I just don't know who you're going to get as that number 2 to CeeDee Lamb. So I don't think consistently you can run the football. The offensive line isn't as good as it's been in the past. And I don't think you've got a great number 2 option right now to CD because Brandon Cooks, although he scored 5 touchdowns with 5 different teams, I think that shows you that Brandon Cooks isn't all in. You haven't played for 5 teams with that kind of talent.
That's a pretty good point, yeah. That's the old Josh Rosen plan, right? 4 teams in 4 years with Rosen. He's on that same path. I don't trust the Cowboys head coach.
Yep.
I just don't trust. I don't know. I just don't trust that Cowboys team to answer your question. It's hard to put a finger on why because they've got Micah Parsons is one of the best players, period, in the NFL. Period. I'm not offense, defense doesn't matter. Micah Parsons is that guy. Dak is good enough to get you to the playoffs consistently. CeeDee Lamb is potentially a top 10 receiver in this league.
Very good.
Very, very good. So, I mean, I start looking at that. They've got, my gosh, they've spent all kinds of draft picks on offensive line. I just don't know, Jim.
That line's gotten old, quick,
it
really
was
quick.
it was dominant 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and you start to look. That was a huge win based on the fact that you've got to bye this week. Then you host the Rams, then you got to go to Philadelphia. So that's 2 back-to-back difficult games. And if they would have lost last night, then they could start slipping a little bit because you wonder where their confidence is going into the bye week. I saw another thing. Jerry Jones. We've always talked about this kind of in a joking manner, but I think it's becoming more real every day. Yeah, he just wants to see them win one more before he hits the grave. And watching him pregame last night, he's gotten that old where you stop looking in the mirror. Like his hair was a little off. He looked awful.
Well, he's
last
had a
night.
lot of plastic surgery. That face has been stretched. So, he probably looks younger than he actually is because of how much plastic surgery he's had.
Probably, but he looked really bad last night.
Yeah.
A little flaky. Again, the hair was kind of popped out different places. Like that's one of those things. If I'm ever a billionaire, which I never will be, but if I ever am my next life, I'm going to tell whoever my handlers are, if I am going to go on TV, at least pat me down and make me look decent.
Handlers. Yeah.
I like that Lance is going to have handlers if he's a billionaire.
If I'm a billionaire, you don't think Jerry has handlers?
Oh, yeah. Jerry's got
Somebody's got to
handlers.
clean his hot tub.
I've got a handler. I hope Maggie's watching this morning.
I randomly stumbled across, it was on TikTok, I know this will stun you guys, of a video of just a fan shot of Jerry arriving at a Cowboys home game, which shouldn't surprise you. He arrives by helicopter, right?
Right.
So they've got a helipad out there. The helicopter lands. Jerry gets out, and there's a guy that gets out carrying his sport coat. Like Jerry's just in shirt and tie, and a guy carrying his sport coat. I'm like,
Mom, I got a new job. What is it? I get to carry Jerry Jones, the Cowboys, the owner of the Cowboys jacket.
And he gets out.
And I get to pat him down before he goes on TV.
He gets out, and they walk and get in a black SUV, and the whole time the guy's carrying his sport coat. Jerry doesn't do anything. He's not got anything in his hands. He's just wearing a shirt and tie, but this guy's carrying his sport coat for him.
So Cowboys win. Good for you, Cowboy fans. 1,000 of them who watch us every morning. Thanks for tuning in, Cowboy Nation, with the big win there.
Did you watch any of the Spanish broadcast on ESPN2?
I've got the Spanish broadcast right here.
The only reason I bring it up is I'm having a problem with YouTube TV. And AT&T was supposed to come out yesterday, and guess who didn't show up? AT&T, because I'm trying to get fiber.
Well, wait. What's the problem? You were able to get the Spanish broadcast?
Yeah, so it was. I ultimately got the regular ESPN broadcast with Buck and Aikman, but before it just kept buffering. So on another TV, the only one I could get was ESPN2, so I was watching Spanish.
Oh,
Hola.
But I've been watching. It's been good luck on some of the baseball games I've played. When MLB on the MLB Network does. It's listed as MLB Baseball.
Baseball.
BOL. So I'll put it on there and just let it roll because typically that's been good luck.
I usually do that and pour tequila, LT, and feel like I'm in another country watching a game. Little Maestro Dobel Diamante.
Best way to learn a foreign language. Get a little Rosetta Stone and then listen to these broadcasts.
Dos Cowboys?
But speaking of the Spanish broadcast last night, now SoFi Stadium, new stadium?
New.
Relatively.
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years already? Yeah.
They grow up quick, Jim.
Are you serious? I was going to say 3. 5 years already for SoFi?
2018.
Yeah, time to build a new one soon.
Wow. So we had SoFi before the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the pandemic hampered the construction, didn't it?
Wow.
3 years,
they
they
already
say.
done.
It is
Yeah.
3 years. Okay, so I was right. 3 years. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
I thought it was 18.
Thank you, CNN on the back row. Mr. Fact Checkers back there. I mean, I got 3 from everybody on the back row. I thought Dale Earnhardt Jr. was running a lap for his dad here at
Well, I wouldn't be
Talladega.
in this seat. I'd be running after him.
So
I do not like sharing a stadium, by the way.
Oh, you shouldn't. And your teams have done it forever.
I know. It's so stupid.
So here you are. It's the Chargers home game last night, but it's a relatively new stadium. 3 years old, I'm told now. And they don't have enough room for the Spanish broadcast. They have to throw there's no extra broadcast booth in a brand new stadium for the Spanish broadcast.
Well, whose Spanish broadcast is this?
It's the ESPN Spanish broadcast.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised the way ESPN rolls that, you know what? I'm sorry, Troy and Joe, but we're going to have to put you guys in the corner because if we put Hispanics in the corner, it's going to look bad on ESPN.
Now
So I'm a little shocked they did this.
This says the Dallas Cowboys Spanish announce crew.
Okay. Is that
So
what it says?
yeah.
So
Here's what you probably got. You got the ESPN TV booth.
Okay.
You got the National Westwood One radio. You got Chargers radio, Dallas radio, probably the Chargers Spanish. I mean, that's a lot of booths to take up, so I can
Okay.
see how they're out of room.
Cowboy Spanish and then a national Spanish.
Well, I would imagine the Chargers have their own Spanish,
Well,
too.
and
right?
it's no telling how many nationalities. I follow Australian Rams, and the Aussies have a broadcast team that comes over and does Rams games.
They send an Australian broadcast.
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing as a world?
Well, I mean, if you've got a big enough segment of a population, I guarantee you there's more Australian Rams fans than the entire country of WNBA
Okay, so
fans,
it's-
and we spent a fortune on that.
This is the Cowboys exclusive Spanish radio broadcast booth. Eli Gould. No, I don't know who's on the call
Gould.
here, but
Gould.
they don't have a booth for them. So they have to throw them out where people like me sit in the press box, normal local sportscasters and broadcasters, where you're told all the time, Brown, what is the official rule?
Ladies and gentlemen, please do not cheer for any play on the field. You will be escorted from the press box.
This
if
is a
there's
working
issues.
environment,
It's a
so
working press box.
Please be quiet.
By the way,
Boy.
cliff notes of the situation you had with an Ohio State fan, 2014 Louisiana Superdome.
Well, that was in a press area where Dunaway told, I think it was a former Ohio State player, hey, there's no cheering in the press area, and he showed Dunaway his championship ring.
And
Said,
threatened
"You-"
to kick my ass.
He said, "You got one of these?" And Jim says, "Nope."
Yeah. My
You want to
local
go out on Bourbon Street? Nope.
local buddies did not step to my defense there.
I was sitting right next to you, and I was like, "Let the guy cheer, Jim."
No, not only was he
It's his Buckeyes.
not only was he a former Ohio State player, I think he was a defensive lineman or a linebacker. He was big.
It was not small. Yes.
He was big. I let him cheer the rest of the way.
Yes, I was like, the guy
Did he
seemed-
continue to cheer?
Absolutely. I was like, the guy seems very excited, Jim. Let's let him have
And
his
at one
moment.
point, I didn't care because Alabama was losing. But long setup here. Thank you, Brown. The Dallas Cowboys Spanish radio team here out there with the normal media people. I couldn't do my job at this point because at this,
What is your job? You sit there and watch the game.
No. I couldn't be the Spanish
Oh,
broadcast because
gotcha.
I'd be
Yeah.
afraid I would be too loud to
Yeah,
interrupt
right,
what you
right,
guys are doing because
right.
I'm not supposed to be here. Didn't bother these guys. Listen in.
Siempre en movimiento, la entrega, el jugada, ahí está Dak Prescott, jugada de engaño entrando a las diagonales. El número 4 dice, aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Wow, vaya jugada, vaya engaño y qué manera de abrirse el mar rojo para Dak Prescott. 6 puntos para la casa.
I always love it. 1,000 words I don't understand. Dak Prescott.
Hey, that guy cares 10 times more than Zeke Elliott ever did. Fact.
God, yeah, that has got to get annoying because for whatever reason, these dome stadiums, as you will notice in the video that Scott showed there, these dome stadiums have gone with the enclosed press boxes. I do not understand that. I don't know who wants an enclosed press box, especially in an indoor stadium. But they've done that. So those are very quiet venues. They're surprisingly quiet, like you would think.
But you're
even in
spending
those-
$3 billion. Why would you not have the accordion or the sliding glass door?
I agree, Lance. But you would think even in an enclosed press box, you would hear a lot of crowd noise. You do not.
No, it shuts it
I
down.
hate them. I hate sitting in them. They're awful.
Me too. Nick says, was that John's seat that Brown took? Probably. Right there. It's the same setup as you get down in Auburn or anywhere else. Just weird that they have to do that out among everyone who has to be quiet. And I thought maybe they would lower their voice a little bit. Nope. Just full-fledged Spanish broadcast there last night. College sports coming up. Josh Pate in the next segment. Show being brought to you by the Penn Store. Getting ready for another game day weekend. Week 8 of college football. Alabama and Auburn game day polos, hats, quarter zips. You choose from the famous name brands like Gentile, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, Elephant Head, and Taylor and Mick. And ladies, weather's changing. You can get all the great fall clothes right there at the Pants Store, including those booties and clear bags. Find any of your game day needs at pantstore.com, pantstore.com, or go to the 6 locations: Auburn, Crestline, Hoover, Huntsville, Leeds, and Tuscaloosa. All right, 2 things on coaches before we get to Josh Pate. First, Urban Meyer speaking yesterday in Knoxville. My takeaway here is that Urban Meyer admitted yesterday, and maybe this is not new to any of you, but he admitted yesterday when he asked whether or not he was getting back into coaching, he said, no, I'm good. Talked about his work ethic when he was coaching and said he became addicted to sleep pills, sleep medicine. And that was one of the reasons he will not get back into coaching. Addicted to sleep medicine, sleep medication.
He was one of those guys, and he kind of still does. He always looked miserable on the sidelines. Like even when they were winning, it just looked like he was just relieved the game was over. Like there was no joy in winning. And I view that guy as a guy that could not shut it down, couldn't turn it off, and couldn't handle that. Like, I think there are guys like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart who are the same way, but it seems like they've figured out how to handle it in their life, right?
Right.
It just seemed like Urban Meyer couldn't turn it off, but he also couldn't handle not turning it off.
Yeah, no desire to get back into it, he said, because of his work ethic, and he said he became addicted to sleeping pills, sleep medication. We've had coworkers who, what is it, Ambien?
Yeah.
That it impacted them a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard him openly talk about Ambien. And hey, look, I've always wanted to try Ambien just based on people that have good experiences with it. Like, I couldn't sleep last night. Could not sleep.
Right.
And it was awful. And I finally just got up early this morning and I just said, to hell with it. I'm going to go exercise. But I've heard great stories. And then I've heard some stories of people sleepwalking. I've heard stories of people sending off text. I mean,
Calling people.
We had a former coworker send some text, and I mean, based on the text, it looked like they were on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
But you always wonder if, like, I just do not remember.
I mean, have you guys ever taken an Ambien?
I have never taken an Ambien.
Has anybody in here ever taken an Ambien? It's not like cocaine.
Yeah,
It's like,
I had a bad experience.
Did you?
Yeah.
What was your experience? You ended up in the street naked?
No, I had the first time I ever took one. I took Simply Sleep for the longest time in high school, and it would take like 2 hours to hit me.
Yeah.
And so this is my first apartment, and my mom gave me up. She was take this, but just take it 45 minutes before bed or whatever. And I was like, okay, it takes 2 hours to hit me. So my ex-girlfriend, Hope, her mother lived like half a mile away from me. So she had texted me saying, hey, I'm running. Can I stop by? And I'd already taken the pill. And I was like, sure, this is like 7 o'clock at night because I hadn't slept in forever. And so she comes over. I remember her coming over. And then the next thing I remember, I woke up the next morning in my bed with my blue jeans on.
Oh, wow.
So I texted, she wasn't there.
Wild night.
So I texted her. I was like, I don't know what happened. And she said, you were all over the place. You were talking 100 miles an hour. Couldn't understand anything you were saying. And I said, did I try to make advances? She said, no, but I had to guide you to bed because it was kind of scary how much you were talking. And I was like, you had to put me in bed in my jeans. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that was the only time I took Ambien.
yeah, look, I've heard the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room's blowing up. You can't take Ambien with alcohol. Honestly, if you would give me, I just wouldn't take it on weekends because my weekends are sacred. But Monday through Thursday, I'll go alcohol free if you give me good sleep.
Yeah. I say I'm the exact
But I'm afraid
opposite.
I would have exactly the experience Rocky had.
I'm the exact opposite. I struggle to stay awake. Like, I was fighting like crazy, nodding in and out of the last 5 minutes of that game last night. That's my fight. Anytime I've ever had to take any sort of medicine that's got the sleep aid in it, like for a cold or whatever, I wake up feeling awful the next day.
Me too.
I hate the feeling.
I've heard that from Rob says Ambien is amazing. Wake up well rested, but it's a sit-down sport. When you take it, get your butt in bed. Don't wait until you feel it before working, before going to bed. I've heard that. I've heard you've got to be
Take it and lay down.
in your rest spot.
Yeah, Ashley goes 5 nights a week. Good night's sleep. I assume her weekend is sacred too. 5 nights a week, Saturday,
That's right.
Friday, Saturday. She's not doing it.
Joseph, by the way, in the 1,000 years we've done trivia, I've probably gone 5 to 10 alcohol-free nights at Odie's.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Charles, folks with addictive personalities often react differently to Ambien than others. Everyone is saying don't mix Ambien and alcohol, except for the LSU fan who says, no, he didn't say alcohol. He says Ambien and then Red Bull, fight to stay awake with Red Bull.
I saw Chris say that.
And he says, thank you. You can tell me thank you later.
Yeah, it's called an Ambien cocktail.
Yeah. All right. Bama Beth, who I think's a nurse, or at least I called her a nurse once.
Okay.
You
Hey,
might,
nurse.
You might sleep better if you just gave up the alcohol during the week. It causes major sleep disturbances, especially as we get older, says
Oh, that's
Bama Beth
interesting.
there.
Well, you said you would give it up for good sleep. Why don't you give it
No,
up
I
and see
would.
if you get better sleep?
But you know, after we got back from Indianapolis, after all that, I gave it up and I really didn't sleep better. Lunch for gummies for me. I recommended them.
Yeah.
I take them past that now.
The influence of the show continues.
So Kelsey brought me some stuff to try tonight. She says she sleeps incredibly on it because I had started to take 2 melatonins 2 weeks ago, but my dreams, and this is honest to God, are so vivid and so disturbing. I had a boat that I was outside, and I watched these people. So bad. They poured gas on themselves and burned themselves.
Jeez, Lance.
So this was my dream the other night, and it's so exhausting that I'm in a sleep, but I wake up in a panic.
Isn't it weird how we hold people responsible for their dreams like I just did with Lance? Because he did that to me the other day.
I can't control
I know,
it.
but I came in the other day. I was like, God, I dreamt so-and-so died last night. He's like, God, Brown.
Dude, I
didn't mean to.
I'd love to be sitting in a field watching Vizslas run around.
No.
Yeah, with a nice cab, but I can't pick my dream. So the melatonins were too strong, so she gave me something else. I'm going to try it tonight, and we'll see what happens.
Lunsford says his wife is taking Kardashian gummies, but the dreams have gotten wild, apparently.
Wow.
If the Kardashians are in them, you bet they have.
Ain't no telling.
That takes a lot for them to endorse something, too, so it's got to be special.
All right. I just don't sleep. I feel better on less sleep than I do when I sleep too much.
You do the show better when you're on low sleep.
Oh, Maggie sets an alarm at 5 a.m. to occasionally go to Pure Bar. Pisses me off to no end when it goes off at 5 because mine's not 5. And if she gets up and goes to Pure Bar, everything's fine because she gets the dogs out of the bed and puts them out there on the couch, swaddles them and lets them go back to sleep, and everything's fine. I go back to sleep instantly. But when she wakes up to do like schoolwork, which is ungodly to me, I would say up an hour later than get up an hour earlier to do schoolwork, but she's a morning person. But 5 a.m. when that alarm goes off like it did today, and then she tripped walking in the dark, trying not to wake me, stubbing her toe, making more noise then. At that point, I'm just up. I can't go back to sleep at that point.
Well, that's one of the things. Like, Brown, I mean, I am so jealous that you sleep like you do. Like, we take good health for granted a lot of times. You know, that guy stole my parking spot. Well, you know what? You're healthy. If you have good sleep, don't take it for granted, man, because I would do anything to be able to have good sleep.
It's tough. Like Pac-12 After Dark is a fight for me every single Saturday night. Every one of them. It's a fight.
I missed the unbelievable comeback because I was like, I'm going to go to sleep because I want to be awake Saturday for all the games. I missed the Stanford comeback. Tell us about Michelson. We'll get to Josh Pate to talk more on the field college football with Josh coming up. I'll circle back to some more coaching hot seat stuff a little bit later on. Michelson Laser Vision, a clear focus on the Week 8 that starts tonight in college football.
Yeah, how about that? 2 Tuesday night games. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jim Michelson, best in the business. Make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Make the phone call that I made. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in Cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour. 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Josh Pate will join us in a second. He will tell you how fierce storms can be in the south. Sometimes thunderstorms, wind, heat, hailstorms. Just a 20-second hailstorm can cause damage to the shingles on your roof. That's where Greg from Pell City can get up there and give you a free, no-cost roof inspection. 205-542-3531. That's his freaking cell number. Call him up and talk directly to the guy that's owned this company for over 20 years. 205-542-3531 for that free, no-cost, no-obligation roof inspection. A-plus rated with a Better Business Bureau. All the best warranties. Got a great relationship with the insurance companies. That's going to help you as well. You can look him up on Facebook if you want. Greg from Pell City. Numbers on your screen. 205-542-3531. Every great story starts off once upon a time, right? Once upon a time. And sometimes they have happy endings, like they did this past week for Washington. And our man Josh Pate was all the way out there in his once upon a time. Actually, it's a once upon a Saturday tour.
That is what it is, yes. But Josh, if you'd like to rename it Dunaway, we'll give you that for free.
Yeah, shockingly, once upon a time was taken already. and those pesky those 2 letters, TM, they get in the way of so many good ideas.
You have, what's the worst game you have seen in the Once Upon a Saturday? Because you're on a heater right now of really good games. Josh Pate with us, Late Kick Josh on Twitter, and he is on 24/7 Sports with Late Kick with Josh Pate. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is the worst game you've seen?
It's got to be Florida-Utah.
I mean, that's crazy. And that game had a lot of intrigue. It wasn't like a blowout, just kind of a bad start for Florida.
Plus, that's week 1, so you get the whole week 1 novelty kickoff aspect. But it's only been uphill from there. I counted it the other day, we've had 5 straight games that came down to the last possession. We've had 4 out of the last 5 games come down to the actual final play. So I'm not going to say it's scripted because enough people out there legitimately think football is rigged. But for those people who do think it's rigged, this is not helping our argument that it's not when things continue to end like this.
I am a huge Kalen DeBoer fan. I've been since his Fresno State days. Everybody I've talked to said that he is just a legit dude. He's got incredible nerves. You saw it on Saturday. He is a superstar in the making. He's 48 years old. But you get the feeling he loves the Pacific Northwest. Now that Washington is in the Big Ten, he might be a lifer at Washington. You can win a championship there now.
Yeah, so we've talked about this when I've been on this show before. How are those West Coast guys going to handle the Pac-12 breaking up? Okay, well, since then, like you just said, we found out Washington is not part of the breakup. Washington goes to the Big Ten. Landing at Oregon's the same way. Both of those coaching names are fairly hot commodities to really hot commodities. Do you have to worry about losing them? I think you're right. I don't, immediately at least, I don't think either program should be terrified that they're running the risk of losing their coach. Here's the other thing. I don't know whether you guys have been up there. I hadn't been up there until last week. I'd never been to a game up there. I'd been to Oregon once. So I thought Oregon was the only place on the West Coast that sort of resembled what we have in the South. They told me what to expect. They told me it was picturesque. They told me it was really, really loud. And I'm not going to say I didn't believe them, but I was still blown away, even having been given that advanced warning. You guys remember Bama at Neyland Stadium this time last year, how loud that was. if you closed your eyes when you were on the field Saturday up in Washington, you would have thought it was one of those kind of atmospheres with 70,000 people in there, open end zones, both sides, by the way. I was like blown away by how just like ear splitting the noise was. It affected Oregon. It affected me, affected everyone. So anyway, I'm saying that to say, if they could package that up and sell it, you can get folks to play at Washington too. It's not just Oregon and USC that can attract the talent on the West Coast.
Listen, I'm oftentimes jealous of you for a variety of reasons, one of which is your relationships with some coaches that seem to really genuinely like you. I've seen Kirby Smart walk out of his way to shake your hand. Dan Lanning and you seem to have a very nice relationship too. Dan's coaching, I love the one at the end, putting in Bo's hand to win it and not punt it back to them. It didn't work. The field goals, though, early on. How is Dan growing into this job? Do you think he will change as he gets older, or is this going to be Dan Lanning until the day I die, being aggressive on fourth down in the red zone and first half situations?
Dan Lanning will never stop being aggressive. Now, I think you've probably heard him a couple of times say, I wish I had that attempt at the end of the first half back. I'd kick the field goal. I think that part's maybe the learning experience that's baked in, but I think it would be very misguided to assume that because the public is widely critical of something, it automatically means what they're being critical of is something that has to change. And not in his mind, I don't think it has to change. I went back just out of curiosity and listened to what he said yesterday, and I thought he made a pretty good point. He said, this is me, like this is what Oregon's going to be as long as I'm here. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not mistake prone sometimes, but if we do that game again, and I have the same choices again, how often are we going 0 for 3 on fourth down? Because any one of those being converted probably turns the game upside down. And I don't think he's wrong, but I also think this is the much broader perspective I always apply. When Kirby first went to Georgia, Ryan Day at Ohio State, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma even, and now Lanning at Oregon. This used to not happen this way, guys. It used to be if you got your first shot to be a head coach, you did it at Bowling Green. You did it at some place called fill-in-the-blank Lutheran College, and you've never even heard of it. And you learned all these lessons. You learned how to manage a game. You learned how to build a staff, manage an organization. Well, that's not the case anymore. And so it doesn't mean these guys aren't good enough to have the jobs they have, but it does mean you don't automatically rid yourself of having to learn those lessons just because you're at a major program. It doesn't automatically microwave itself to success. So what you saw the other day was Lanning learning what a previous generation's coach would have also learned, but it would have been in a game with 18,000 people in the stands and you wouldn't have ever known about it. So that's the price you pay. If you want to hire the hot commodity at his 35th birthday instead of 55th birthday and 4 jobs in, sometimes you got to deal with that stuff. And I think the reward will still outweigh the risk for Oregon long term.
Josh Pate is with us. If you could give me 1 second, Josh. I was supposed to have done this last segment, but we spent way too much time talking about dreams you have when you take Ambien. So, yeah, I don't know if you have any input on that. Johnston RV Center, just back from their annual Forest River Expo. They saw the latest travel trailers, the fifth wheels, the toy haulers, the motor home floor plans. New and exciting fresh inventory is on the way because of that. So they've got the Call of Fall campaign to make room for all of that. Fifth wheels, discounted more than $50,000. Travel trailers starting just $179 a month with approved credit. As always, Johnston RV thanks those that are in the military for making the United States the greatest nation in the universe. No questions asked. And if you're active duty or retired military, you get great discounts there. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, johnstonrvcenter.com. They bring you the hotline where you find Josh Pate, Late Kick Josh on Twitter, 24/7 Sports. It's where you find his show, Late Kick Josh. Subscribe to it, like it, all the things we ask you to do for us. Give him a thumbs up. Do the same for him. Let's talk about this. Your next stop, which is Ohio State and Penn State. Woo! Penn State leads the nation in time of possession. They are grinding out drives, Pate. They're just keeping the ball away. But they've done that against a much lesser level of opponent than Ohio State. Is that a path to victory for them, though? Do you think they can lean on that one stat, limit Ohio State possessions at the Horseshoe, and win this game that way?
Yeah, they can. The funny thing about stat profiles this time of year in college football is they can still be misleading. Last week, what did we see? We saw Texas A&M take the number 2 rush defense into Neyland and get over 200 hung on them.
Yep.
So like we could have baked all of that into our prediction and then been wrong had we just leaned on that. Well, the funny thing about this, in fact, we got 2 games featuring 4 teams this weekend: Bama, Tennessee, Ohio State, Penn State. All 4 of them probably end up leaning on defense to win these games. If the truth is told, all 4 of them probably are relying on ball control. Let's limit possessions. Let's force turnovers. Let's limit mistakes. And let's hopefully grind out a win. I think both of these teams feel the same way. Penn State, the funny thing, the closer you get to their team, the more the fan base is happy with where they are. But they're wondering, if we do get down 14-3 somehow, can we stretch the field? We've got Drew Aller, and he had 5 stars next to his name and got a lot of talent, but what do we have at receiver? They don't have a lot. They don't have game changers at receiver. Probably more likely to do that at tight end than receiver. So I think that question hasn't had to be answered yet. If Ohio State can pop an early score or 2 on them and leverage home field to put them in a hole, that's where it gets really unfamiliar and maybe uncomfortable for them. And so the quickest way to do that is grab an early lead yourself, shave possessions, and also rely on the fact that you got a head coach caliber defensive coordinator in Manny Diaz with a lot of talent at his disposal. And maybe as much as Ohio State is your stiffest test, maybe you end up being Ohio State's stiffest test as well. Notre Dame was a good primer for this game, but I'm really excited to see this. The total is much lower than we were told totals would be in the year 2023. Same way, Bama, Tennessee, same way, upper 40s right now. So, Peepaw told me football would never be this way again, and Peepaw was wrong.
Oh. Hey, for the record, Josh, I think Ohio State's the better team. I think they win the game. With all that said, I go back to what Penn State did against Iowa. After watching Iowa against this weekend, ultimately a backup quarterback when Mordecai goes out. But Iowa had 4 first downs. Penn State forced 4 turnovers, and they went almost 400 yards on that Iowa defense in a 31-0 rout. To me, say what you want about Iowa. They've got 1 loss. It was to Penn State. That was an impressive win from Penn State.
It was really an impressive win. I mean, Penn State they limited them to, I think you just said 70-something yards, and it was really thorough. That was their whiteout game. It was really thorough. I think you're right to bring that up because I don't really get the sense the rest of the country even remembers that game, much less are talking about that game. That's the price the public sometimes pays when there's a win that's so thorough. Instead of appreciating what it was, which was domination, they say, oh, Iowa must not have been good. Okay, well, you need to be careful with that because then you come into this week and Ohio State coaches know the difference and they know what they just watched on film. And I almost wonder because of that, if we have one of those games, Ohio State and Notre Dame felt like this to me, where the first half is both staffs being petrified of making the game-changing mistake. And as a result, it feels like you're calling plays with both hands tied behind your back and you're just waiting on the other guy to mess up. That's a recipe for a couple of things. First thing, it's a recipe for about a 2-hour, 45-minute game, like triple option style, Service Academy football. And number 2, it means one play is worth about 3 times what it normally is. One turnover is worth about 3 times what it normally is. And we're going to have a game that's played right on the edge of a razor. And yet the reaction afterwards will either be Ryan Day will never get it done again or James Franklin will never get it done again. That's the part I always loathe, even though since I'm in this business, I should love it. I hate it. And I don't know. I tend to lean with you. Certainly Ohio State on paper, a little bit better home field advantage. But I think, you know what I think back to? I think back to a couple of years ago. Remember when Cristobal and Oregon came in there and just randomly beat Ohio State by like 2 scores? And it was kind of the early shaking of the shoulders moment in college football. This would be that in the Big Ten. Because as much as people say Penn State's legit, not many people are going to pick them to win Saturday. And if they did, that's really the first shakeup moment up there.
Yeah, and football is an injury sport. I mean, you have to factor it in more than any other sport. And this Ohio State team is beaten up. I don't know how healthy their running backs will be. I don't know how healthy some of their receivers will be. And if you're putting it in, Kyle McCord's hands with a limited running back room against that Penn State team, that doesn't add up to me, Josh. Home field advantage and all, that doesn't add up to me. I like Penn State this weekend.
Yeah, and if you talk to the Penn State folks, don't misunderstand what I'm about to say, because what I'm about to say will sound like they're overlooking Ohio State. That's not it at all. This is circled in red Sharpie for them. But if you ask them about matchup, they think they match up well with Ohio State. The matchup they're concerned about down the road is the same one that bit them last year, and that's Michigan, because they don't have a way of knowing how much more effective they are against a team fully committed to running the ball for 4 quarters and fully equipped to running the ball for 4 quarters. Like you just said, we don't know if Ohio State can do that right now. And so the secondary pitch may be Kyle McCord and a bunch of really talented receivers. Can we utilize those? And does that play into the hands of Penn State? You know, you sit there and think to yourself, let me utilize these weapons. For all you know, you're probably giving Penn State's defense a chance they otherwise wouldn't have had to change the game with 1 turnover or 1 tip ball up in the air.
One of the best tight ends we've ever seen at this level is Brock Bowers, and now he's undergoing right now that tightrope procedure. 4 to 6 weeks is that recovery time. Some people out there have heard that this injury might be a little more than people are saying on the surface. If Brock Bowers doesn't come back, do you think Georgia can still three-peat?
Yeah. Do I think they will? They would not be my pick. Lance, do you also notice this? Like, I don't know how medically advanced you guys are. Have you noticed that since this tightrope procedure was sort of introduced, everyone just throws it out and they claim to be able to explain it, but luckily no one ever presses us. Because if anyone ever pressed us on this, we would have no shot at actually explaining it. They just go, oh, he's having ankle surgery. He's having tightrope surgery. And you hope that people just accept that as you know what you're talking about, because that's what I do every single day. This is where I think Vegas gets it wrong sometimes. You know as well as I do, an odds maker looks at Brock Bowers, and they do not adjust Georgia's power rating very much. They would look at Brock Bowers and say he's worth 1.5 points per game, and that is an astronomically high number for a tight end, any non-quarterback. I just flat out disagree with that philosophy. There's no way you've watched Georgia football this year and you're telling me that Brock Bowers is only worth 1.5 to even 2 points per game operationally in the way they go about things offensively. No way. And so, like, they don't beat Auburn if they don't have him, period. And their toughest stretch is coming up. Like, they've got a rejuvenated Florida team coming up, and I know people still discount that. Oh, it's Florida. Well, brother, if you can't score, every game's in play. And the same thing's going to be said when they play Tennessee down the road. Who knows what Missouri does? So it never plays out like the preview magazine tells you. It's just not the way football works. Dunaway just said it's an injury sport. No one escapes injury-free. No depth chart looks now like it did in August. And that's why it's probably pretty impossible to predict this stuff in August.
You have some ligaments and tendons, and a high ankle sprain separates it a little bit from the bone, and you sort of thread it and tightrope it back to the bone.
See, you know it's a bad definition when he has to use the word in the definition.
Well, the only thing I know is a surgical thread instead of screws.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, we've done it. It's developed here locally.
It was. We know the doctors that created it.
It's
so
a local development. Now, what we don't know is what it does to you 5 or 6 years down the road.
It makes it better.
Right now, hell, we're all in on it. I got to ask you, Tennessee, Alabama, we were there last year. You were there. I was there last year. It was a crazy atmosphere. Tennessee won 52-49. Does combined total get to 49 this year in this game?
No, I don't think it will. I think it sets up a lot the way Tennessee A&M did last week. That total was so easy. It wasn't easy to pick the winner last week, but the style of game we were going to get was so easy. Here's what you can sometimes do. You can sometimes have teams like Tennessee, which are high profile, but if they haven't played in a premier, like primetime game, the country hasn't watched them. So there's a large portion of the college football public that thinks Tennessee is a pass-first team. Still, they have no clue. They're defense-oriented this year, really good defensive front. They can run the ball. They ran it at will virtually against A&M. They didn't know that. And so that matchup last week screamed under. This matchup screams under. Which quarterback's taken over this game? The answer is neither. One will be better. One will win. But I said what I said about Ohio State, Penn State, because I feel this game may be the same way. You got a couple of defenses that really believe they can take over the game. They can win the game. Both of them can, by the way. You'll try and special teams your way. You'll try and complimentary football your way to a win. But it could be a feeling out process. It could be one of those seeing which one blinks first sort of feels in the first half, which always makes for kind of a discombobulated style of game. So ultimately, I saw this open in the low 50s, and it got steamed way down into the upper 40s. I think that's the direction it will continue to go and should go. And just like we said a little while ago, this game last year, there is no one play. People remember the Jalen Hyatt touchdown. Okay, which one of them? There were multiples. This year, every one of those plays, every first down, like every chunk play through the air on the ground, it means something. It's a really big deal. It feels like that LSU-Alabama game, maybe not 9-6, but in that game, every offensive gain of 10 or more yards was a monumental achievement. And while not to that degree, it will feel that way this Saturday.
All right, he is Josh Pate. He will be at Ohio State, Penn State Saturday. So check everything there at Late Kick Josh on Twitter and on his YouTube channel as well, 24/7 Sports, where he does his show. Josh, thank you very much for the time. Always fun talking with you.
I appreciate it, guys.
I look forward to next football season, your Eras tour. That'll be really good.
Well, I tell you what I look forward to. Next time we talk tightrope surgery, please don't rub two of your fingers that long on camera.
Josh always no. You know what Josh always does? He always, after he's on with us, sends an out of context next round live video. I think I know which one it's going to be.
Got it.
Yep. Thank you, Pate. Be good, buddy.
It is Prostate Awareness Month.
Okay.
Keep that in mind as we roll forward. Our friends at the University of Montevallo want to remind you, if you go to montevallo.edu, you can check out everything the University of Montevallo has to offer for your son or daughter as they approach junior, senior, and high school. They start touring around looking for a place to call home for 4 or 5 years of college. Make Montevallo that place. Great business school, theater department, music school, remodeled buildings down there, broadcasting school, 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship sports, University of Montevallo, montevallo.edu. When we come back, let's talk a little bit hot seat. Bruce Feldman with some insider information, fascinating story today at The Athletic. So we'll do that when we come back. Clay Travis, top of the hour, upset alert, Brown Bandit off a win, coming up at 10:25 today. And somebody else got their first win of the year, too.
Oh, wow.
The Righteous Gemstone got one.
Oh, wow.
No, it's not going to stick?
No, I don't think so.
Almost came with a full, pastor robe and everything.
The Righteous Gemstone. Oh, you're going to do costumes, too, now.
I think once gets enough, my friend.
Right.
It's a good another hour.
Tell us about Heupel as we take our break and get to the hot seat when we come back.
205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call. Right now, a $69 fall tune-up for the month of October. Mention the next round when you call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Heupel Services since 1954. The name Birmingham is trusted for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Hard to stop a train. Call them today, 205-229-2090 or HempelServices.com.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Red Wing Shoes is pleased to announce the ultimate fit and comfort savings event during the month of October. Mention the next round and receive a special discount of up to $30 off. Visit your local Red Wing Shoe store in Pelham or Trussville to have your feet electronically measured. A certified fit specialist will then recommend the proper footwear and orthotic to ensure you receive a comfortable pair of boots or shoes. So be prepared as the fall weather begins to change. Enjoy a pair of classic Red Wing Pecos pull-ons, Heritage Iron Rangers, or Vask hiking boots from Red Wing.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Birmingham, guess who is back? Our friend TJ Miller. The Gentle Giant Tour, it continues at the Comedy Club Stardome, coming up one night only, Wednesday, October 18th. Doors open at 6:15. Show goes off at 7:30. To order tickets right now, 444-0008 or stardome.com. TJ Miller, you remember him from Silicon Valley, from the Deadpool movies, one of the most sought-after comedians in the world. This Wednesday, October 18th, Comedy Club Stardome. For more information, stardome.com.
If you missed it yesterday, the AP basketball poll had Kansas, Duke, Purdue, Michigan State. If I ask you quickly how many of those teams are in the Final Four, just gut reaction.
Give it to me again.
Kansas, Duke, Purdue, Michigan State.
I mean, the easy thing would be say zero.
I would say one.
Purdue couldn't find the Final Four with a map.
Yeah, I think Kansas. Kansas looks...
We always believe in the Big Ten, don't we? There's two in the top four.
You get burned doing that, by the way.
It's crazy. Basketball season cranking up. SEC Basketball Media Days tomorrow. The next round will be there, of course. The show being brought to you by our friends at A+.
A+ Tile Home Remodeling. That's who did my bathroom, master bath, and kitchen, okay? This is where you're going to get your money back when you go to sell your house, is master bath and kitchen. We just weren't crazy about our bathroom, so Jennifer scoured the internet. She found Brad Bell after talking to tons of contractors, reading reviews, talking to people who'd used certain contractors. She was like, I feel comfortable with this guy. He came over. We were blown away by his bid, his professionalism. His crew was terrific. They worked hard. They were on time. They were efficient. They did great work. Our bathroom looks tremendous. We had a whiter bathroom. We just wanted the darker tones, wanted it updated. To show you that Brad's not just some cookie cutter guy that only does it one way, Lance was the exact opposite. He had a darker bathroom, wanted to go lighter. He saw the work Brad did in my bathroom and said, hey, you think you'd do mine? Of course he would. So he comes and does Lance's. Scott's showing you the photos there. You can see how great it looks, just the opposite of ours, from the darker to the lighter. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling, kitchen's master bath. That's where you get your money back. That's his specialty. Here's his phone number, 205-422-1758. 205-422-1758 for my man, Brad Bell, and A+ Tile Home Remodeling.
Okay, real quickly on these with no reaction, because I want to get to the one big one from Bruce Feldman's story before we talk to Clay Travis. Tom Allen, Indiana, hot seat, had a good year when Michael Penix Jr. was his quarterback, got a big extension, but his buyout is $20 million if he's fired before December 1st, according to Bruce Feldman. The Athletic, $15 million, still a lot of money for Indiana after December 1st. Don't know if he'll lose his job. Dino Babers, a lot of people like him. He's 18-42 in the ACC. 18-42 in the ACC. Likely going to have a change this year there. Neil Brown has been improving. Tough loss on the Hail Mary to Dana Holgerson, who is on the hot seat. Plays Texas this week. 3-3 Dana Holgerson. But he actually tells Sam Khan, I'm not on a effing hot seat because I've got an unrealistic buyout, is what he says.
So Dana is saying that?
Yeah. Go look it out. Sam Khan, what he told him, use the F word.
Hey,
I'm not on an effing hot seat. $15 million is his buyout, which is nothing to the
15?
$15 million.
Last time I saw somebody this confident they weren't going to lose their job, it was a comedian teacher yesterday.
But that gets us to Jimbo Fisher, who Bruce Feldman has talked to several high-ranking Texas A&M boosters who do not believe now, according to Bruce, that he will turn this around. And if he doesn't turn it around this year, finding the money to pay this out, according to Bruce's sources, is not going to be a problem. And Bruce writes at The Athletic that people that he's talking to, very confident that if they need to, they can get the money to pay what will be over $70 million in this buyout for Jimbo Fisher.
Incredible.
They're to that point.
I think it's going to happen. It's a shitty situation that you gave him this contract, and now you're digging up looking for dirt. I don't think they're going to find any dirt. I think they're ultimately just going to pull the trigger. They're going to pay the buyout. He's going to be done, and I guarantee you right now they are working on their next head coach.
That's the biggest question, Brown. Who could that be? Who would interest you?
I think you take a look at Deion Sanders and you say there's a lot that comes with that, but
I'd rather have Elko.
That is the polar opposite of
it is
of
showmanship.
Showmanship, yes. I'm not saying Deion's the right hire, but I am saying you're crazy right now.
Here's the thing,
you're crazy if you have a good job and you don't at least look at the guy.
No, Deion is great for Colorado because Colorado's not a brand. A&M is a brand. I know they haven't won championships.
They've won about as much as Colorado has.
I get that, but if you take on Deion, what you are taking on is a guy that is going to be more about his brand than your brand.
But if it's winning football games, does that bother you?
No, but if you can win it with a guy that's not like that.
But just so you don't know, though.
Here is the quote, source to Bruce Feldman. It's year 6. What is Fisher going to do now that'll convince anyone at this point that he can lead them to a national title? What's another 8-4 going to prove? And this is what Bruce writes at The Athletic. Worth the read, worth the subscription. Texas A&M, I'm told, will find the money to get rid of him if he can't get this thing going. And yes, it absolutely does matter to important folks down there that Texas has a chance to be a college football playoff team this year, and Steve Sarkisian has been on the job for half as long as Jimbo. So, we always talk about those people across the state are rivals in conferences. If they start doing well, all that does is ramp up the expectations. Remember, Gus Malzahn was on a national championship coaching staff, led a team to within a minute and change of winning a national championship, was back in the SEC championship another year, beat Nick Saban just about as regular as anybody. But Alabama kept winning national championships, and all that did was crank up the heat on Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, so when you look at Jimbo, they're on a bye this week, so he appears to have survived the getting fired in the bye week deal, which happens a lot, by the way. A lot of times.
So far. Look, if they find that coach, and that coach is like, I want to pull the trigger on him.
Yeah. South Carolina after that, I just can't see it. I don't know. I guess any game's in play, but then they're at Ole Miss. They host State. Abilene Christian, they're at LSU. There will be some more losses, I think, for the Fighting Texas Aggies.
Yeah,
another thing you got to remember, last year in year 1, Sonny Dykes played for the national championship at TCU.
Yeah, right there in that same state.
In year 1.
Yeah, in the same state.
Well, he made it to the national championship. I don't know if he played for it or not. They were in the game.
I think A&M would take that.
All right.
Yeah.
Run our ass off the field, but let us get there.
He won a playoff game.
Let's
just start doing that with Sonny Dykes. He won a playoff game.
He was national runner-up.
Yeah.
Really? How many active coaches have won a playoff game?
Not many. Sonny's in select company. There's no doubt.
Tell us about our friends at Bromberg, speaking of chasing rings, and then we'll talk to Clay Travis coming up on the other side. By the way, Dave Aranda is one name mentioned. Was 12-2 that 1 year at Baylor.
You mean to get fired, right?
Yeah, he's on the hot seat now. He's 14-16 in his time in the Big 12.
It's not good.
14-16. Baylor people, one thing that Matt Mosley taught me is that Baylor people like their football more than I ever thought they did.
Absolutely.
14-16. He could be on the hot seat. Could be a good DC for somebody in the near future. Tell us about Bromberg.
Yes, it's 1836, family owned and operated. They are your diamond specialist. If you're looking to pop the question, holidays right around the corner, you need to go see our friends at Bromberg's, Mountain Brook and the Summit. Again, you can shop online, board at work, go online, go to brombergs.com.
Spittin' Lugs with ESPN's Tom Luganville and Lance Taylor weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention The Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at legacycreditunion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, upset alert coming up in the next segment after Clay Travis. If you're looking for upset, if you have one to play, there's no better place to play it than mybookie.ag.
Code Next Round when you sign up right there at mybookie.ag. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere at mybookie.ag. And when you use Code Next Round with your initial deposit, they give you a 110% sign-on bonus, 110%. That is absolutely free money. You can use it right away right there at mybookie.ag. All you have to do is win once, and it is yours and yours forever at mybookie.ag. Again, that is when you use code NEXTROUND when you make that initial deposit at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. That is mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Clay Travis is the founder of Outkick. You see him on Fox Sports as well, at Clay Travis on Twitter, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Clay? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. Thanks a lot. I know as a lifelong Tennessee fan, this is a week that kind of maybe gets your juices flowing, especially after last year. It is just so strange. We were talking with Josh Pate earlier, and we talked about it yesterday, how much different this game will probably play out than last year's game. A complete track meet last year. This year, first team to 20 has a good shot of winning this game.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, look, whoever's quarterback plays better is going to win the game. And I know that's sometimes true, but I think it's 100% true for this game because Joe Milton has not been particularly strong. So let's just break down how we would compare last year's team. I think Tennessee is worse at quarterback, worse at wide receiver, better at offensive line on some levels, certainly better at running back. So partly that's maybe making the offensive line look better. Tennessee's a really much better running the football team this year than they were last year, which is kind of a surprise because they were so good at throwing. You think they would have been better. That would make the run game even better. Defensively, they are miles better. And I think the best player on the field, and I don't know how many Alabama fans are even going to know him yet because he's a true sophomore, but I think next year, meaning 25, not 24, he'll be a top 10 pick based on the way he's going, and it's James Pierce. He's number 27 for Tennessee. He's got an unbelievable ability to get to the quarterback. He's almost at times unblockable, maybe the best rush defensive end Tennessee has had in a long time. I think the best rush defensive end Tennessee's had since Leonard Little. And I don't know what the stats reflect, but just in terms of people who remembered Leonard Little, he was almost unblockable off the edge. That's kind of the way that James Pierce feels. And I think next year he will take over some games at times. But I don't really have a good read. I mean, Joe Milton has had 2 straight games where he's had really bad turnovers. If you go back and look at the game against A&M, Tennessee probably should. I don't know if you guys watched it, but Tennessee probably should have put them away early in the fourth quarter. They're driving. Joe Milton throws an awful interception in the end zone on 2nd and goal. Effectively, Tennessee got stopped on 2 fourth down tries down close, missed the field goal. So I mean, just right there, that's whatever it is. 14, 17 points that Tennessee left on the field. But the defense kept them in it, and I think barring sort of crazy turnovers, that could be a big deal. The other one I'll throw out for people who haven't watched Tennessee, D. Williams is a punt returner, and he scored on a punt return touchdown against A&M. He scored on a punt return touchdown against Virginia. They called it back, I believe it was for a block in the back. But he has got the ability every time there's a punt to be a game changer for Tennessee. I don't remember the last time Tennessee had a punt returner that is as skilled as he is when he has a little bit of space. So I'm betting on the under. I took the under 46.5. I think it's going to be the exact polar opposite of what happened last year. I think Alabama probably will win. The other aspect of this that hasn't been talked about that much is Tennessee is still in that stage in the program where they're a much different team at home versus on the road. Tennessee's won 13 in a row, I believe it is, at home, which is the longest streak since 96 to 2000. They've beaten a lot of good teams during that stretch, so it's not like they've just kind of gotten lucky on the schedule. The last team they lost to was Georgia in Heupel year 1. And so we'll see whether in a couple of weeks when Georgia comes to town, whether they can extend that. But Tennessee hasn't been that great on the road. I don't count Vanderbilt as a road game. They blew out Vanderbilt. That's kind of a Tennessee, West home game. But Tennessee wasn't good at Georgia. They weren't good at South Carolina, and they weren't good for the first half this year against Florida. Now, maybe Florida's not as awful as people thought they would be. That first half, Tennessee was really bad. After that, they kind of dominated the game. But so I don't expect that you'll get Tennessee's best effort just based on location. If this were going to be in Neyland again, I would pick Tennessee.
If you take away 2 quarters, that second quarter against Florida and then Alabama's fourth quarter against Texas, you've got 2 undefeateds, a top 5 matchup, and this game is massive. With all that said, if you had the quarterbacks back from last year, Hendon Hooker and Bryce Young, with these 2 defenses, I mean, these 2 teams are right there in the conversation. I know they technically still are to get to a college football playoff this year.
Yeah, look, if Tennessee could take, and this is always kind of fantasy camp, right? If Tennessee could take the offense that they had last year and pair it with the defense that they have this year, I think Tennessee would be the best team in the country. Because if you go back and look at last year's offense, you had Jalen Hyatt, who's, I think Alabama fans remember him. He had 5 touchdown catches. You had Cedric Tillman, 2 NFL wide receivers. You had the same cadre of running backs, so those guys would roll over. And obviously, Hendon Hooker is orders of magnitude, I think, better than Joe Milton, both in the run game and in the pass game. Now, interestingly, and you can see probably how this could happen, I can see how in practice Joe Milton could look better. Because I think Joe Milton is bigger, stronger, and faster than Hendon Hooker. And he's a smart guy himself, right? I mean, I think he graduated from Michigan in 3 years. I think the speed of the game itself sometimes leads to questionable decision he makes. And Hendon Hooker was really good at, hey, I'm going to make my reads. If it's not there, I'm going to get down and I'm going to make plays with my leg. And he just made those decisions so rapidly. And Joe Milton, you can just see there's like a little bit of even on the throws, and I'm sure Bama fans have seen this a little bit with Milroe, but Milroe's a true sophomore who hasn't played that many games. I mean, Joe Milton is a sixth-year college football player. He has been, training in college football. I think Gary Danielson said on the interception he threw, hey, that's a sophomore interception, not a sixth-year senior interception. You just have to see the safety there. And so I think a lot of the criticism that Joe Milton has got is just simply he's not Hendon Hooker. And at the same time, you can watch some of the things that he does, and you can say, my God, he can throw the ball, 75, 80 yards in the air. He's, big, strong, tough. He can see over the line of scrimmage. When he gets going north and south, he's insanely fast. But, again, all of that has just not corresponded to elite performance. And then I would add one more thing. He's missed his guys deep, and when he's hit his guys deep, they haven't held on to the ball very well. So Brew McCoy got a broken leg, who was the returning playmaker at wide receiver in the South Carolina game. So Tennessee's young at receiver, and they're not helping out Joe Milton. But Joe Milton is not hitting on the deep ball. Milroe has hit and thrown a much prettier deep ball so far this year than Joe Milton has.
Looking forward to punt, pass, and kick this week. Tennessee and Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Last time they played a game like this one's expected to be 2015 when Alabama won it 19-14. Clay Travis is with us. Show being brought to you in part by our friends at Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila. The tequila made with 100% agave, aged in European barrels. It is a fantastic tequila. I just poured over ice with a twist of lime. It's crystal clear. It is Maestro Dobel Diamante. Clay, Bruce Feldman, who you know very well, writing at The Athletic, writes this about Jimbo Fisher being on a hot seat. Texas A&M, I'm told, will find the money to get rid of him if he can't get this thing going. And yes, it absolutely does matter to important folks down there that Texas has a chance to be a college football playoff team this year, and Sarkisian has been on the job half as long as Jimbo. You've been doing this a long time. How much does a rival having success really speed things up in the firing process for the other team?
A ton. And I mean, to be fair, Jimbo should have made the playoffs in the COVID year, right? I think that A&M got screwed. They finished fifth, or what I believe I'm correct, and Notre Dame was fourth in that year. My big question with A&M, and I know that program decently. I know a lot of the boosters down there. There are a lot of Outkick fans in the A&M fan base, probably not surprisingly. It's not only that Steve Sarkisian's having success; it's that Texas is suddenly joining the SEC. So it's like you're somebody who is a close family friend, or like your brother-in-law or your sister-in-law is moving in the neighborhood and they're way more successful than you are. It's one thing if they live in a different state, you don't see it as often. All of a sudden they're back in the same city and they're living in your neighborhood roughly, and they got the nicer house, the nicer car, kids are going to the better school. It's grating. That's basically what I would say about any sort of college football rivalry is the closer you are in proximity, the more frustrating it is when they have success and you have failure. So with that in mind, I always think, and I've been saying this with LT certainly for 15 years now, I always think when you analyze it, what's the ceiling and what's the floor if you're going to replace somebody. So leave aside the money, because A&M, it's $100 barrel oil. They got guys just sitting on legitimate mountains of cash in Texas. So whatever they have to pay to get rid of Jimbo Fisher, there's a lot of Aggies who could afford to do it. So let's move on from that. I just don't know who you're going to get. Think about this. Who's got a better resume to come to Texas A&M than Jimbo Fisher did when he came to Texas A&M? Maybe Urban Meyer? I mean, that you could get. Like Nick Saban's not going to A&M. Dabo Swinney's not going to A&M, I don't think. Who is the candidate? When they fired someone, everybody very quickly said Jimbo's the guy. That was not a very well-kept secret. Who's the guy that you look at right now? Is it Mike Elko? I know he's been the defensive coordinator at A&M before, and he's having a lot of success at Duke.
I think that's your guy.
But his resume's not better than Jimbo's resume was when you hired him.
Yeah, nowhere close.
Right?
Yeah, but Elko hadn't had those jobs.
I get it.
Yeah, but I think that's Clay's point, is there's not like an obvious guy that's got the good resume. Yeah.
Listen, I would have to ask.
Elko could go to A&M and be way worse than Jimbo has been.
Yep.
Is what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing in Elko's resume where you're like, if anything, when they hired Jimbo, I thought, okay, A&M's going to win at a high level. And it seemed like they were. I mean, again, he got to 9-1, and we'll see what happens. I mean, they still have Ole Miss and they still have LSU. I think both those games are on the road. But 7-5, 8-4 seems likely. That's not a disaster. But again, we'll also see how Texas finishes out the season. My thing is, I would just be a little bit apprehensive if I'm an Aggie. You're thinking, hey, everybody makes a fire thinking things can only get better, and about half the time they get worse.
Yeah. I would ask you, though, Clay, don't you have to look at those resumes and say, okay, he had a good resume, but he also had an iconic quarterback, college quarterback in Jameis Winston. If you look at somebody else, I want to see somebody who's done it with multiple, different quarterbacks, not just one, star player. I mean, that's going to factor into me.
I get that on some level, although I think college football is becoming a quarterback-driven league like the NFL is.
Right.
I mean, remember when we used to argue who was more responsible for the dynasty? I mean, we collectively, sports fans, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady.
Right.
And Belichick, looks like he's about to get fired a couple of years after Brady is gone. Now, if Belichick had, let's see who's been drafted in the last 3 years and looks like he's going to be a stud. If he had Trevor Lawrence instead of Mac Jones, I think maybe you'd be looking around saying, hey, this Bill Belichick guy is still really good. But I think college football is becoming a little bit more determinant in that way. I mean, you can go back and look at Dabo. Taj Boyd didn't get a lot of credit, but he's the guy who turned the Clemson ship around. And then you have Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence back-to-back, who are as good of college quarterbacks as you could possibly have. Heck, even look at Sabin. For a long time, Sabin's principle was we're going to have defense and a running game, and then boom, he goes and gets Jalen Hurts, and he gets Tua, and he gets Mac Jones, and Alabama's suddenly a quarterback factory out of nowhere. And now you're back to Jaylen Milroe, and I don't think Milroe's been awful. I think he's just not Tua, and he's not Jalen Hurts so far. Maybe he's going to be in the junior or senior year, and certainly the wide receiver talent's not the same level. I think that's catching up with Bama a little bit too.
By the way, on the same day, Bruce Feldman reports that a major college football program's ready to stroke $70 million to get rid of their coach. A bunch of college athletics heads of conferences and people like that are arguing before Congress how bad NIL is. Give me a freaking break. I mean, the irony of that. That's ridiculous.
Here's what is true about NIL. I do think that having 50 different state laws, this is where I think they're right. I don't think you can have 50 different state NIL laws.
I'm all right with that. Yeah.
So to some level, I don't have any problems, certainly, with players getting paid. I'm a capitalist. I've always been on that pathway. But I do think when you have, like the NFL has a salary cap. My theory is down the line that the thing that would make the most sense for college football is a salary cap-like system. Now, how do you enforce that? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right?
They used to have a salary cap. It was zero, and they couldn't enforce it. So you can make it any number. They can't enforce it.
Yeah. I think that's what they're arguing is not to stop paying, but to just have one national law about it so you don't have, players in Michigan getting something that are being limited to something that players in Texas are not.
Just put it this way. Alabama doesn't have as many wealthy boosters as a lot of other SEC programs do. What if Tim Cook said, hey, I want to give $5 billion to Auburn football and ensure that every Auburn football player makes $2 million a year?
You'd have a good class.
Yep.
Yeah. War damn Eagles, what a lot of people would say.
I mean, they would get every best player. I mean, and I'm not blaming it. I'd go, if I were a high school kid, I'd go play for Auburn too. I'd get $2 million a year. Somebody's going to do that. I don't know who it's going to be. Like, what if Elon Musk actually cared about football?
I'm telling you, the Saudis are going to do it, Clay.
Well, one of these and I don't know what the long range is going to be. I do. I think the long range play that's going to make sense, and I think LT's not crazy about the Saudi angle, but I don't see very many people talk or discuss this, but every hospital, and I think I may have mentioned it on your program before, every hospital is for profit. That is, I believe I'm correct in this, that is connected to a university. So, like I'm sure there's a University of Alabama hospital in Tuscaloosa. I know the UAB.
It's UAB.
It's UAB.
Yeah, it's University of Alabama
UAB.
Hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that one is, I'm sure, for profit. I know Vanderbilt University Hospital is for profit. at some point, even though those are teaching hospitals and they're connected to the universities, they spun them off, right, and said, hey, this is going to be a for-profit venture. I think the SEC, as a football venture, and probably also as basketball, at some point is going to get spun off as a for-profit entity. And somebody's going to come in and pay billions of dollars to own the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten, for instance. And the players then will become employees as opposed to just student athletes. Now, imagine they'll still get a college scholarship. They'll still be able to go to college. Like, they'll figure out some way to work that out. But then every player who is on scholarship would get something similar. Now, maybe it's you can allocate resources differently. Quarterback makes more than a long snapper, that kind of thing. But I think that's the future. It might take 20 years. It might take 30 years. Heck, it might take 5. I don't know what's going to end up happening, how that's going to play out. But I think that's the end result of where we find ourselves. In the meantime, I think the positive is, so far, NIL and conference realignment and all these other changes to college football don't seem to be making the sport less popular, which I, as a big fan of college football, am happy to see.
Oh, no, TV numbers are as high as they've been. Yeah, so for all those that were going to turn it off, ratings are through the roof. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of empty promises from people that were going to turn the TV off when players started getting paid. Clay, thank you very much for the time, and enjoy your week.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. Clay Travis with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Hey, if you're looking for a way to get cash, I got the answer for you. And then I've got a great business decision that was made by one of the great business people in America. But first, our friends at Legacy want to remind you, if you need extra cash handy, look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. Apply online today at legacycreditunion.com/join. legacycreditunion.com/join. Federally insured by the NCUA, our friends at Legacy there. Taylor Swift's movie, very popular this past weekend.
You seen it yet?
I have not seen it yet. My daughter went. I've seen other people in our timeline go on my social media feed. Another amazing deal by Taylor. The deal she worked out. This was a late ad to theaters. This is sort of a downtime for AMC theaters and theaters like that. So this was very little promotion except for her dating Travis Kelce. Very little promotion. This was, the movie was being put together, but it being in theaters this early was quickly thrown together to hit this time of year where it was sort of a dip in the movie going before the holidays come. The deal she worked with AMC, she gets 57% of AMC's profits.
Oh my gosh.
That means this past weekend she made $55 million off of this movie of her tour.
Okay, don't anybody tell me with my theory that Taylor Swift doesn't need the money. She doesn't need the money, but it's all about getting richer and richer and richer.
I don't know what she does with the money. I'm sure she does some great things, but that's a great business plan. She said, we can fill this gap for you at AMC theaters right now when nobody's going to be really rushing to your theaters. I will take 57% of the profits.
I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah, I'm sure AMC's like, where do I sign up?
That's right. That's right. Because they got 43% of the profits.
For doing, their normal
what
deal.
Would be a downtime.
That's
and now, sell out ticket lines and all that.
Hey, if she wanted to buy this company and she wanted to promote it on a daily basis, I don't know. She can have 95% of it, 99% of it.
By the way, she wore that windbreaker that Aaron Andrews designed to the last Kansas City Chiefs game,
right?
Wear by E. They
sold a shit ton of them, right?
Sold out of them, and the reorder of them have already been sold out.
Our society is so stupid. You understand who set Taylor Swift and Kelce up, right? It was Aaron Andrews.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So she was the matchmaker?
Yeah, so you don't think that, hey, this is the way this is going to go, and at the same time, wear my gear and get me rich.
I think if they're getting married.
This thing is such a effing
I
joke.
hope they get married.
She's probably walking into the stadium, and Aaron says, "Hey, just throw this on as you're wearing it." And she wears it in the game.
I guarantee
sells out at Fanatics. The reorders have sold out. They cannot. They're just
of course
good for Aaron.
And we're going to find out that Erin Andrews, as much money as she's made, this is like a Jessica Simpson thing. And it's like a Kate Hudson thing. And Jessica Alba, the more money she will ever make, or the most money she'll ever make in her career, is going to be on this clothing line. And it's because they had a sit down months ago, and this thing was premeditated 1,000%.
It's really cool looking gear she's had. She's had it out for a few years now, and she does design some really good looking stuff for women to wear that are team gear.
You think she really designs it?
I think she's in on the process.
I think she's in on the paycheck.
Yeah, I think she really is in
Fine
the
with
process. But brilliant decision by the end. She's been sending out links from her social media. Hey, Swifties, they're still get on our next order. We're sending a new order out. Jump in quick.
Can I answer this question for Patrick?
Yeah.
Kansas City has become a team that is more about being mainstream than actually winning football games. And I know they're doing both right now. But Kansas City, Pat Mahomes, even Andy Reid, who I like, and Travis Kelce are on more commercials than any other football players out there.
Yeah, there's a good chance because of his podcast that the Kelceys will make as much money off the field this year as they do on the field.
I believe it.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. They were at the Phillies game yesterday with a cameo shot on Fox of them sharing Bud Lights, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in the skybox watching the Phillies play, sitting together.
The Kelce brothers?
Kelce brothers.
And Jeff, I'm aware that we hype Roback. I love the gear. I think it's incredible. It is about making money. All I'm saying, our society is so dumb that they really think this is a love story. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, Fox, it was a second inning or a third inning cutaway, and there was an empty seat between the Kelce brothers and the skybox. And, of course, they teased ahead. Who's that empty seat for? Could that be Swifties? Could that be?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Have a little respect about yourself.
As we head to break here, tell us about Hydra Live. When we come back, upset alert. Little T, if you're in the lobby, if I got a text a few minutes ago, he may be up here now. Brown Bandit limo just pulled up.
Oh, in a limo. Must have been a big win last week.
Can somebody go make sure he gets up here to the correct floor?
Hey, IV therapy, compression therapy, cryotherapy, B12 shots, all under one roof. Make sure you mention Next Round at checkout. You're going to get 20% off any of those incredible services. 2 locations now, the newest in Greystone at Highway 119, one in Homewood. They're open 7 days a week, 9 to 6. If you can't make it out, not a big deal. Hydra Life can send a nurse to your place of business or home. For more information, go online, hydralifetherapy.com.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter at RockstarBHM.
There are so many things I love about Walk-Ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-Ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with Walk-Ons.
Going to a big football game? Walking around all day? Then you'll want comfortable shoes. This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. Score a touchdown with a new pair of ultra-comfortable running or walking shoes. Come to the New Balance Birmingham store. I'm telling you, we'll make sure you have a perfect fit and we'll treat you like the starting QB. Our job is to make sure your feet are happy. Visit the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A. Your feet will thank you.
Harbin's Outdoors is an award-winning landscape company specializing in installing custom fiberglass pools, landscaping, and hardscaping. Jeremy and his team are a one-stop shop for your pool construction needs. Harbin's does it all, from the install to the final hardscapes around the pool and everything in between. It's beautiful work. You can find them on Instagram at Harbins_outdoors to see it for yourself, or call or text Jeremy directly, 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718. At Harbins, you and your home are the center of all that they do. Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at New Life Art. Daniel A. Moore has completed his original full-color oil painting honoring Bryce Young, Alabama's 4th Heisman Trophy winner. This painting depicts the memorable Heisman-worthy go-ahead pinpoint pass to John Mechie in the corner of the end zone as the Tide dismantled the Vaughan, Georgia defense in the SEC championship game this past year. Use code TNR for 15% off. You can order online at danielmooreart.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our not for all ages podcasts like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Are you announcing that now or later?
I mean, we're putting it together right now.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah,
later
we
in
could
the
go
show.
and do that.
Big announcement later in the show.
Okay.
All right, we'll do it later in the show. Big announcement. Tell us about Harbin's Outdoors. They're changing your backyard. I think you've invited me over to a fire pit. Is that what you're getting put in the back?
I am doing a fire pit in the back.
I think you invited me.
I am doing a fire pit.
You are the indecision is not whether or not you're doing a fire pit, is whether or not you've invited me.
Yes, I think that was it.
So Harbin's Outdoors, you can call Jeremy and the guys right now. Forcer's about to pull some of their incredible workout, but they have flat in the backyard, new retaining wall, privacy fence to keep that leaf blowing out.
Already done?
No,
Okay.
So the rocks have been laid, the backyard, the retaining wall, all that's been laid out. We've got to do the fence still, and then they're putting a sport turf in there because I've got some tree coverage, so I can't keep any grass there. So Bullet and Chili are going to have their own little sport turf back there. We're putting a fire pit, and we're putting a new TV out there. It's going to be pretty awesome. So excited about this. Harbin's does incredible work from the landscaping, the hardscaping, ceramic pools. Had an opportunity to have a nice conversation with my man, Jeremy Harbin. But they design, they build, they maintain. Call or text Jeremy directly right now, 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718. At Harbin's Outdoors, they're going to take care of you and your family. The Corns are doing a project up on Smith Lake. Call him today. Tell him the Next Round sent you.
Hey, so you referenced this to Josh Pate earlier.
Who did?
Huh?
Who did?
Lance.
Lance. Okay.
There are rumors out there that you have heard that this may be a little bit worse for Brock Bowers than the normal, because the normal tightrope, and we've got a pretty good track record on what this tightrope is for elite athletes. The normal recovery is 4 to 6 weeks. That's normally an elite athlete that's getting the care an SEC athlete's getting, right? He's getting the rehab,
the shot treatment,
everything an SEC athlete's getting. 4 to 6 weeks.
Great food, great sleep.
Yeah, it's your normal recovery on that one, which is what Brock Bowers would get. But there are rumors that it's worse than that.
I heard it's a bad injury. But you try the tightrope because if you go the other direction, he is done for the season. I'm sure Brock Bowers is one of these guys that he knows his stock is ultra high. He doesn't want to risk anything. But they also have an opportunity to win another championship, 3 consecutive. This is something I don't think will ever be done again.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's it. If this team was where
LSU is,
2-loss team anywhere, I don't think he'd come back. He would just heal naturally. You wouldn't have the surgery.
Listen, Tua Tagovailoa was going to be a top 10 pick if he didn't play in the semifinals of the national championship game in 2018.
That's right.
In fact, his performance at the 2018 national championship game would have only hurt his stock. It was not a good performance. He fought his tail off to get back from that tightrope to get back. Jaylen Waddle wasn't even fully healthy in the 2020 national championship game. Came out and limped around on the field just to play in a championship game.
Did it for the team.
Brock Bowers, I think, is cut from the same cloth as a guy like Tua and Jaylen Waddle.
I do
think
too.
that guy's going to bust his
I-
tail to do anything he can to play.
If I was Brock's old man, I would say, look, ultimately the decision is yours, but let's weigh this out. I would talk to the doctors, and if they're like, it's a little risky, he's coming back for SEC championship or college football playoff, I would probably tell him you got a long career, you've done a lot for the university. I would sit this out. I've just got a feeling, and I hope I'm wrong because I love Brock Bowers.
Right.
And I love at least the opportunity to make history. And I don't want Georgia to be on the outside of it because of an injury. But I've just got a feeling we're not going to see him again.
Yeah, big topic right there in the upset alert area. But it is a big story to keep watching, no doubt about it. We can get back into it as we move throughout the rest of the show here. But Brock Bowers is having the surgery, which lets everybody know he's not opting out. Time for the upset alert now, which is brought to you today by our friends at the Comedy Club. Hit the open, Rockstar, and then tell us about what we can do with our friends at the Comedy Club.
Yeah, so what we're doing is it's one night only for our man TJ Miller. It's the Gentle Giant Tour. Doors are going to open at 6:15 tomorrow. The show starts at 7:30. It's your one opportunity to see TJ. I saw him on the streets talking about our great state of Alabama yesterday. I showed you guys that video.
Yeah.
He's super excited about coming in town. If you've never seen him before, hilarious dude. So get out, check it out, 444-0008 or stardome.com right now. We are working on a next round table where we're going to be out there for the show. We're working on tickets for some of our listeners. Me and Little T are putting something together. We're going to send out social media-wise. You'll have an opportunity to win tickets, say hello to us, buy you a shot or two. It'll be fun.
All right.
Stardome.com or 444-0008.
So stay tuned for that announcement coming up. Comedy Club tomorrow night with that Gentle Giant Tour. Rockstar, hit it, man.
The College Football Spotlight.
Sound the alarm. College football's upset alert.
All right, here we go. Upset alert. Update standings. Couple of winners last week. Brown Bandit win. Oh, that's actually on the scoreboard now is Brown Bandit.
Whoa, that's a big lead.
Brown Bandit,
I can't hit
11
one of
points.
these.
Outright winner of 6.5 or more for the Brown Bandit. How much was that worth for him? What do you get for that?
Three.
That's 3 points?
Yeah, 3. If we'd done the other scoring system as I wanted, you'd be way ahead right now.
Yeah, Brown Bandit's fine either way.
Oh, the other scoring system, I'd be up there too because I had like a 15-point outright dog.
You'd be doing well. Brown with a 4. Dunaway doesn't have 0 anymore.
What did you
happened?
win a game, Jim?
Yes, it was 30-10. Colorado State was down. I don't know how many people stayed up late to watch this one. I did not. I watched early on, and then Colorado State was sucking, and it was 30-10. I think it was 30-10 with 5 minutes to go. And then it was touchdown.
Oh, come
touchdown.
back. Yes.
Extra point with no time on the clock. 31-30. Hail Mary wins it. So, dadgummit, the righteous gemstone hit last past week.
Oh, man. And we're going to have another righteous gemstone this week?
I'm still last, so I'll go with my upset alert. Listen, there's one coach that I think when he really wants to, like, it means something to him, he doesn't coach as well. Like, it's like a grudge match for him.
Right.
And, like, he really wants to win the game bad. Wants to win them all, obviously. But this one is personal.
Okay, so this is personal. Deion Sanders.
And when it's personal to this guy, he sucks as a head coach.
Oh, not Deion Sanders.
Not Deion Sanders. I think this guy, in just a regular game, is a pretty good coach.
Yeah, but when he makes it personal.
But when he makes it personal, he occasionally sits back and grabs your popcorn or whatever else he wants to do. I think you get really good Auburn this week.
What a good logo.
Plus 6.5.
War damn logo, Jim.
First time I ever drew that logo, by the way.
Yeah, is it hard?
It is harder.
What time did you start?
It is harder to draw than you would think. It's a crisp, clean logo.
Yeah, very good logo.
First time Auburn has ever been drawn by these hands.
Yeah.
In logo form. Great, crisp-looking logo. Plus 6.5 at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Why is the plus 6.5 so small?
Just for effect.
Okay.
Yeah, plus 6.5.
Can you see it, Rockstar? Can you see the plus 6.5 there?
I don't need it.
Yeah, you don't need to see them.
You don't need to see it.
Is this an outright winner, you think?
I think they win it outright.
All right.
I think you get maybe a little bit more Robbie Ashford the way Hugh was talking. I don't know.
You know, Hugh
I
was
don't
asked
know.
that. Hugh was asked that multiple times yesterday in his press conference and gave very short non-answers to both questions. And you can read into that anything you want. But he was point blank asked twice, and both times pretty much dismissed the question.
You think this game's important for Lane Kiffin? You think he wants to win this one because of what went on last season?
It is much more important for Lane Kiffin than it is Hugh Freeze. And I agree with you. I think Auburn shows up. I think they play well. If the quarterbacks don't completely shit the bed, which they have.
They've done that all year, Lance. Yep.
Yeah, and
they are in
Otis
diapers.
Coming off a bye. Look, this is...
Look at little teaser spots.
It is such
really done away.
a coaching mismatch, in my opinion.
Well, season is over,
Hugh
boys.
Freeze is so much better of a coach.
Oh, he is. He just doesn't have the bullets.
Okay, let me jump in here.
All right, Lance, you got to pick.
And thing I've noticed, and Rockstar's like, man, you guys are wearing these markers out.
We are.
I've never done it to this degree, but here's the problem. So, altitude game.
Right.
We are going to Provo. BYU is hosting TCU. TCU coming off actually BYU got whipped by TCU. They're hosting Texas Tech. Josh Hoover comes in. Nobody even knew the kid. He scalds them 44-11. We had TCU last week. But right now, BYU 3-0 at home under Kalani Sitake. Keaton Slovis, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. Altitude game. They've been a different team at home. But I want to show you this. So, look, when I try to...
Yeah, it's bad. It's the same
why
thing
does it do that?
Let me show you.
Show me how to do that. I know you get up here at 5 in the morning to do this shit. I can't figure it out.
Show him Dunaway.
It doesn't make any sense. If I draw a straight line, it's a straight blue line. But if I go back in and try to draw a blue line in a blue line, it makes it white.
Yeah, it just makes it white. Same thing happens to me. That's probably enough, Jim. I think we show. You don't do the whole thing.
Well, show me how you're doing it. Like
I just...
You just do it carefully.
I do it one way.
Bob Ross.
Like this. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
It's not back and forth, because when you start doing the back and forth, when you... There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show him now, Lance.
Yeah.
Boy, that's
He
beautiful.
touched it up. Yeah, there you go. Let's go.
Hey, my last few years...
Soaking a victory.
My last few years of television, that's how I filled in my hair.
Oh, very good.
I
Yeah.
do the color.
I
Let's put it on this post right here so it doesn't fall.
Okay.
All right. There we go. All right. So Jim's got Auburn. Lance has got Brigham Young. Hello, everybody.
Hey, it's the Brown Bandit, the leader.
How's happening, guys? Anybody catch that Northern Illinois win last week? Did y'all watch that one?
I did not. No.
Hey, did
one outright.
Ryan Brown buy you that last week when he was at Jacksonville State?
Big Gamecock.
Yeah.
I love the Cox, man. Rockstar, too. He was telling me he saw me coming up the elevator earlier, and he said...
Yeah, I was wondering, why were you wearing that outfit?
You know who else does? Desmond Howard, apparently. Hey, so... I had somebody tell me they like what?
Penis.
Yeah, that's what he said. Hey, so we're back in the game right here. Another outright winner. Now, I've been giving you teams to cover the spread all year, but I like getting the games that win outright so you can play the old money line.
That's just too easy, right?
Money line, anybody can cover the spread. I want to give you games that win outright. So that's all I ever do is I take 6.5-point favorites or more and pick them to win outright. I did it last week, Northern Illinois. So I'm going to spice this up a little bit for everybody that likes the Brown Bandit. Y'all ready for me to spice this up?
Yes.
All right. I have in this suitcase.
Jesus.
Is that a Samsonite?
That is American Tourister.
Oh, it's monogrammed.
Yeah, it's got the Bandit logo.
Oh,
so
did you
it's
get
fine.
that in Scottsboro?
I got this, and I have filled it up with $100 bills. $100 bills.
Open it up. Let's see it.
Hey.
For every...
Turn it sideways, you got a B for bills, too.
Every dollar I won last week off of Northern Illinois is right here in this suitcase in $100 bills. And because the Brown Bandit has won so much money, I am going to hide this in the city of my winning team.
Wow.
I'm going to hide this in the city of my winning team and let you guys have at it. I don't even need the money.
Boy, I hope.
Don't even need it. I've won so much this year, I don't need this money anymore. So it's right here in this suitcase. We're going to hire it. We're going to hide it in the city of the winning team.
How do I know what city it is?
I'm about to tell you, Jim.
Wow.
And it's going to be free for anybody that can find the Brown Bandit suitcase full of $100 bills.
This is like an old radio promotion.
This week, we're going on the road in the Southeastern Conference.
So it's an SEC.
It's an SEC city, right? We're going on the road in the Southeastern Conference. Team I'm picking, they lost last week in very, very tough fashion. But they're going to bounce back this week. Their coach is going to get them back in the game. Two of the top quarterbacks of the conference going head-to-head. I like the Gamecocks. I told you I like Cox. The Gamecocks of South Carolina.
Wow.
Plus the 7.5. Give me some Gamecocks.
That is well drawn, Brown.
Thank you.
Drawn.
Plus 7.5. Really difficult logo to draw. I've been here all morning working on this. Gamecocks plus the 7.5. Not Jacksonville State Rockstar. Not those Cocks.
You don't need this plus
Dude,
7.
Smoff in the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room said that the Aliceville Women's Prison is in shambles, finding out that Brown likes Cox.
I do. The South Carolina Gamecocks plus the 7. Rockstar. It's my hidden American Tourister game of the year. Those 7.5 points, what do you do with them?
Shove them up your...
you
don't need them.
Send them to unclaimed baggage in Scottsboro because we don't need them. South Carolina beats Missouri outright. Here's your money from the Brown Bandit.
Oh, my gosh.
It's
How
so
much
heavy,
is in
isn't it?
there?
Lance, $100 bills stacked in there. I can barely hold the thing up, man. But here you go.
So it'll be in the town of the winning team.
Of the winning team.
Okay.
Columbia.
So either way, it's going to be in Columbia.
Columbia, Jim. Yes, you're on to it. You got me. It's in Columbia. Town of the winning team, but you don't even have to look at Columbia, Missouri. It's going to be in Columbia, South Carolina. South Carolina wins.
I will tell you, I don't think anybody picked that thing up. People will run from it.
What?
When are you going to put it? Like, when are you going to put it there?
Oh, Brown Bandit puts it there today. I'm hiding it today.
Okay.
Well, we used to have handicappers that would come on. Hey, I've got 3 big clients that want to go to the game. I'm taking them to the game. The game is so big, and I'm bringing this game down, and it's going to be such an easy winner. I am taking my 3 biggest clients. We're going up to Columbia. We're taking the PJ up there. We're taking the money. We're going to drop it.
I'm giving it to the people.
You're a giver, man.
The people deserve this money.
See, what's those things that when you go to a psychiatrist or psychologist and they show you like ink blot?
Rorschach.
What is it?
Rorschach, the ink blot.
Anybody else see 2 boobs when they look at that mask?
I know you would.
No?
That's a Dunaway right there.
Who?
Shadowing.
I mean, I see Zorro maybe.
Zorro.
Brown Bandit.
Yep.
This is how you know it's the Brown Bandit's bag right here.
Yep. It's a B if you turn it on its head. If you turn it upside down, it's like a mountain range.
Well, that's bankroll, right?
Yeah, B for bankroll.
Yep.
And Brown Bandit.
Turn it upside down. We got mountains.
It's so heavy, Jim. I can't really do
that's more boobs that way. I see boobs.
Jim, you're going to see boobs. 3 of them right here in this one frame.
I mean, really, where do you get boobs out of that?
It's in a titty suitcase.
The curvature's underneath.
Did you steal this from Brown's grandfather?
Oh, this is not stolen. This is Brown Bandit. I don't know if you know, it's got my logo on there.
Hey, when does Brown get him some Louis, though? When are you dripping in Louis with all this money?
Hey, with all this money, if I gave it to Brown, he could buy the Louis he wants. We are just making money left and right.
All right, that is the upset alert today. Brought to you in part by a friend, Dr. B. Brown doesn't need it right now.
Nope.
Neither does the Brown Bandit.
Nope.
He's got hair.
That's right.
LT was starting to lose a little bit, and he got in touch with Dr. B, and then things turned around for the better. They started to grow, much like this segment.
Yeah, so Dr. B is the guy everyone said you need to reach out to. This is a guy that's been doing it for more than 20 years. Women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He'll use that experience. T3hair.net. That is, or you can call his number, 205-938 9308. Again, when I started to thin out, got a little preemptive, went to see Dr. B. My hair is more than doubled in thickness 3 times a week. I do the non-invasive treatment on the couch, 30 minutes each time. It's that simple. For more information, get in, see the fine folks at Dr. Beckenstein's office or go online, t3hair.net.
Tyler Watts and Jim Dunaway on All Things Alabama. Watch Talk of Champions at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
You could win a Dodge Challenger RT or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You could be a winner too. Come win your share during the Challenger RT and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings October 27th and 28th. Located off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
There are so many things I love about Walk-Ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine prepared fresh daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-Ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 in Hoover with Walk-Ons.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Couple of interesting NFL stats. Last night, Cowboys won over the Chargers. Thursday night, we get back into football. Jaguars and Saints. Trevor Lawrence doubtful for that game. He's got a little bit of a knee injury there. Thursday against New Orleans. Raheem Mostert. Who does he play for, Brown?
That'd be the Miami Football Dolphins.
He's got more touchdowns this year than 11 NFL teams.
Miami is leading the league in rushing and passing. I don't know if you've noticed. Pretty dang good offense they got going down there. He has been incredible. Devin Achane, until he got hurt, was just as incredible. They're running the heck out of the football. So he's got more rushing touchdowns than how many NFL teams?
11.
Yeah.
He's got more, not necessarily rushing. He may have caught a few, but he has.
Yeah, okay, he himself.
Mostert has 11 more touchdowns than 11 other NFL teams.
I mean, historically, it's the best offense we've ever seen in the or statistically, I should say, the best offense we've ever seen in the NFL to this point.
Yeah, Mostert's got 9 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he's been really, really good.
Christian McCaffrey, MRI today, ribs, oblique. They're checking that out. Debo's day-to-day. When it comes to his shoulder right now for a San Francisco team that all of a sudden is banged up a little bit. Speaking of banged up, Anthony Richardson likely done for the year, according to his owner, with a shoulder injury there. And David Montgomery, Lions, right?
Yes.
He
used to be Lions.
Oh, he's not with them anymore?
No, he's with Rockstar's Detroit Lions.
Oh, Lions.
I think it said Bears. Sorry. Yeah.
With the Lions. David Montgomery, big part of what the Lions is doing. But he's got a rib issue and could miss some extended time, which could impact the Lions, who are in a pretty good place right now as a one-loss team. Those are your NFL injuries right now. Part of the show being brought to you by our friends at Wayne's Lawn Care. Good time to jump in with lawn care, get the nutrients in as the fall and winter season progresses. And that year, with our friends at Wayne's, their lawn care service will help you next year in 2024 have the best lawn in the neighborhood. And celebrating 50 years until the end of this year is what we're doing with our friends at Wayne's Pest Control. And they have the world-class pest control termite protection. Call Waynes.com. Call Waynes.com. You can get $50 off the pest control or termite protection, whether you're a new customer or an existing customer, because it's the anniversary at Wayne's. Visit callwaynes.com. Call Waynes.com. Wayne's celebrating 50 years of great service there. All right, let's do our 4 downs here. Open hour of college football conversation coming up. 4 downs brought to you every day by our friends at Slice.
4 locations, the original Lakeview, One of Best Stadium, Montevallo, now Crestline Park. We were at the Crestline Park last Thursday for Bud Light game night. Fantastic location, incredible pizza from the Bajalia Special to the Wing and a Prayer, spicy Hawaiian. Check it out. More information, go to slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Teddy Bruschi, longtime great of the Patriots, says on ESPN, I hope Bill Belichick coaches his ass off the rest of the year, gets him to 6 or 7 wins, has him playing better at the end, and then retires. There's no need to chase Don Shula. You've won more Super Bowls. You're better than Don Shula. Retire at the end of this year. Here's your question. How many of these people retire? Belichick, Sabin, both, or neither?
Neither. I think Belichick's going to chase it. And also, if you'll go watch, Daniel Jeremiah and I of the NFL Network did a video about this, about Belichick and how this ends in New England. And DJ makes the point, like, everybody stop to talk about him getting fired. He's their biggest asset. Bill Belichick is their biggest asset. if he wants to leave, teams would trade for him. And DJ starts listing teams that would trade for him.
I've always said he's not getting fired.
He's not getting fired. He's too big of an asset. Like, do you think?
But you guys have said he's getting fired.
No, I don't think he's getting fired.
Oh, I don't think the word be fired, but I could see them separating.
Yeah, I don't think
absolutely.
he'll be with New England at the end of the year. But to DJ's point, he is their biggest asset.
But you've never said you think he's not getting fired.
I don't think so, but maybe I might have.
I have said.
I know one of you two has said that.
I have said Robert Kraft and him are not getting a good place. I could see Robert Kraft wanting to make a change. They would never, ever make it be a firing. They would just part ways.
I think both are done.
Yeah, you've said you think Sabin is coaching his final year.
And I don't think, to Brewski's point, maybe somebody does want Belichick, but he ain't finding 6-7 wins. That team's bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad football team.
Second down.
More likely to turn it around at their current school. Billy Napier, Florida. He's 5-2. A very no street cred 5-2 from Florida right now. Or Dave Aranda at Baylor.
It's just kind of almost like the lasting thing you've seen. And that was Billy Napier winning a big game this past weekend. And Dave Aranda, outside of the comeback against Central Florida, what have they done this year?
Very little. I mean, they've played a lot of the year without their starting quarterback, to be entirely fair, but he's back now.
How big of a game was that for Florida?
Florida beating South Carolina, I think massive.
Well, I think massive based on the fact that we talked about how much trouble they've had on the road.
Yeah. But if I had told a Florida fan, what do you think? If I told a Florida fan, go into the bye week, you're 5-2. Do you think most Florida fans would have said, I'd rather be better, but I'll take 5-2?
Yeah, 5-2.
Now, the 2 has looked weird. You did not look great at Utah, and you got slaughtered at Kentucky.
Yeah.
But you've played two really good teams, a really solid team, and then a pretty good team.
Yeah, and now they're in a bye week, and you get the cocktail party next, and you're about to get Georgia without Brock Bowers, which is about as normal as you're going to catch Georgia. I'm not saying they're going to win that game. In fact, Lance, they're still going to be a pretty big underdog.
Yeah, they will be. And I'm almost convinced they lose out now. Like everybody's talking about,
Florida does.
Well, yeah. So Florida's been so weird this year. I could see them lose the rest of their games.
Sharkbait makes a point. Top 3 recruiting class coming in. It's just weird to me. Billy Napier is a guy who I think people were starting to talk about him being fired. They're 5-2 bye week. Dave Aranda, who hasn't been talked about a lot because he had that one good 12-2 season, he's not good right now at Baylor.
He's not.
Do you guys think Florida beats Georgia?
I do not.
Do you think they win at LSU?
I do not.
I don't.
Do you think they win at Missouri?
Could be, but no.
Could.
Yeah.
But you would lean
that's
Missouri.
more on the table than the first
You think
two.
they beat Florida State?
I do not.
Well, the only other game out there they can win to get bowl eligible is Arkansas.
Yeah.
Where is that game?
It's in Gainesville.
Yeah, they probably win that.
Where they will not back down. Let's do third down.
Third down.
Happy birthday, Eminem, 52.
I was going to say 52.
Would have been the birthday. I get this right today. For the late Norm Macdonald.
So good. Right? I love Norm Macdonald.
Yeah. Better snack or, bad eating, M&Ms or a trip to McDonald's for fries?
No, I'd rather have the fries.
Yeah.
As much as I love M&Ms.
McDonald's fries, just the smell alone.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on the situation. If I'm watching a movie at home, I want some of those dark chocolate peanut M&Ms with the popcorn.
Well, I don't do the dark chocolate, but
the dark chocolate's fantastic.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, see, the problem is little man likes the peanut butter the most, which I love too, but I think it's number 2 to the dark chocolate peanut. So if it's just me, I would go dark chocolate peanut with the popcorn, but if it's me and little man, I'll take the peanut butter.
I'm good just with the regular peanut M&Ms. Love that. But those fries, we do have a mutual friend who will go by and just order
a sack of fries.
Just tell him to put a sack of fries together and charge him whatever.
I've done it on a road trip, not a sack, but just make that your snack instead of stopping at a gas station. Yeah, go in there, take
and McDonald's one of those fries that you can just eat without ketchup. I mean,
no
a little
doubt.
bit better with ketchup and mayonnaise, but I can go solo.
Norm Macdonald, one of my favorites of all time, though.
Fourth down.
Finally, happy birthday, Alan Jackson. One of his great songs, Way Down Yonder on the Chattahoochee.
I can't wait to hear this.
What does it get hotter than on the Chattahoochee?
Hoochie Coochie.
That is correct, Jim.
Your favorite, Hoochie Coochie. No. Around the board, can you water ski? Have you ever water ski? Because he's known in that video for water skiing in cutoff blue jeans.
I have, but I've never been able to like slalom or barefoot. My ex-wife could barefoot and slalom because she grew up on the river. And so like when I would get up, it was just
but you
trying to
get up.
stay awake. Yeah, but it was just, it was so boring.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up water skiing every weekend on the Coosa. I could slalom and barefoot back in the day. It was barefoot is a lot of work for very little payoff. I'll just go ahead and tell you. It's you're really, honest to goodness, when you barefoot, you're just showing out. That's all you're doing.
I like tubing a lot better.
Yeah,
I don't do any of that shit now.
I could never get up. I don't know if it was coordination, upper body strength, or the lack thereof. I don't know what it was, but we've tried it off a pier. We've tried it from starting dead in the water.
You can't even get up on two skis?
I cannot get up. I can't get up. It is always.
So you just suck the water in.
Yeah.
Have you been snow skiing?
It is always. No, I've never been snow skiing. No. But it's always. I've gotten to this point, and I guess my skis got down. I didn't hold my skis up.
Keep them up, ass down.
And it went boom, flipped me down.
Oh, you towed under?
Yeah.
I agree with Forrester.
First.
Wakeboarding is so much better than water skiing.
I used to love water skiing. I mean, I promise you, we did it almost every weekend in the summer. It was so much fun. But again, barefooting is just showing off because once you've done it, you're like, man, that just beat me to death.
Do you see anybody water ski anymore?
You know, it just seems like it is a lost art. I would agree with you.
I never see it.
No, a lot of people on big tubes.
They're on the tubes of the boards and stuff like that.
Absolutely. That's our 4 Downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice. The show also today being brought to you by the great folks at New York Butcher Shop.
Our friend Jim at New York Butcher Shop, such a fantastic product, and I've seen more and more people going out to support the New York Butcher Shop. 2 locations, the original in Cahaba Heights. There is one, Highway 119, Greystone. Stop in. Not only a great selection of desserts and fine wines, they've got the best meats available. I mean, anything you want, from the prime fillets that we talk about all the time, premium pork chops, all natural chicken cut to order just for you, chef prepared entrees, side dishes, perfect dinner to go choice for you and your family, ready to heat at home. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
Quinyon Junkins makes a promise about Ole Miss after the bye. Jaylen Milroe on pass protection. Josh Heupel on his quarterback. All that coming up next segment right here on TNR.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
It's college football time in Alabama. This is Congressman Robert Adderholt. I grew up an Alabama fan, Roll Tide, but my wife, Caroline, grew up an Auburn fan, War Eagle. But no matter who you pull for, whether it's the Lions of the University of North Alabama or the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State or any other school in between, I want to wish all the players, the coaches, and especially the fans another great college football season here in Alabama. I'm Robert Adderholt, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Adderholt for Congress.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Heupel Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Heupel are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Heupel Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Heupel Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations, but we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
On Fridays, LT and I usually drink a beer from the old keg over there.
Got to check. Both of our kegs are floated.
Meanwhile, today on Tuesdays, Brown and I drink an ice cold Diet Coke.
That's nectar of the gods right there, my friend.
I wish the Brown Bandit had hung around and shared this with us.
Brown Bandit had to get up to Columbia, hide that money somewhere.
You know, it's funny how different we are on this because I go Sprite or the original Coca-Cola. I had somebody last week, when it says on the label, it says original. Somebody was like, did they ever go away from the original? Had to tell that story. Wasn't it 1984?
Yeah, Coke Classic. I don't know what year it was.
It feels like
I think it was 84.
I think it was 81.
Oh
no.
Yeah, I'll look
too
it up.
early.
Yeah. 81 to 84, somewhere around there. It came back at some point.
No, I think it was only 9 months. I think it was 84 in that year.
No, I'm just saying it was somewhere between 81 and 84. New Coke is what we're talking about.
Yep.
I've said this before, but I'll say it again. This Is It was the Coke commercial back then.
That's right.
And we rewrote the words to make that the worst senior class song of all time.
Oh, I bet that wasn't cheesy
This
at all.
Is It.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Is it any cheesier than that promo CBS 42 runs during the SEC games where the newsman standing there by the band or the weather guy standing there by the band? Terrible. 1985 New Coke.
That's local TV. What's wrong? Standing by the band?
Well, yeah, but it's some cheesy song about how much they love Birmingham.
Oh.
Yeah, and as quick as any of them can get out, they're gone.
1985 was New Coke, Jim. 1985. Introduced April 23, 1985. The crazy thing is, according to Wikipedia, it was only discontinued in July of 2002. I did not remember it staying around that long.
Yeah, you could still buy it.
Yeah.
But how long until the Classic came back? It was off the shelves for a while. You couldn't get the Classic.
That's what I'm saying. That was 9 months.
Yeah. Oh.
I think that was 9 months.
Yeah.
I can't believe you were off that far, 81 to 85. Do you not associate things with, like, memories?
I do, but I had a lot of the same memories in the early 80s. High school and college, I was, sucking at baseball and getting turned down for a lot of dates. It was all a blur from 81 to 85.
I remember
not a lot of yeses.
I remember the
then.
New Coke not being bad. I didn't think it was bad. Now the original Coke you can't touch. That was going to be my point. Is you guys love the Diet Coke. I love the original Coke. I picked up 3 on Saturday.
I love Coke Classic. I choose the Diet Coke.
This is incredible to show you how things have changed. So I told you the first day for New Coke was April 23, 1985. April 23. Okay, keep that date in mind. April 23, 1985. Oh, shoot, I'm going to have to get back to the...
This had to be a holiday marketing promotion to bring it back.
While you're doing that, our friends at Champy's serves the great Coke Classic there and all the other great Coke brands. Highway 119 in Alabaster this hour brought to you by Champy's Chicken. Champy's world-famous fried chicken. You see it right there, the Southern fried chicken, the hand-cut chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, all the great sides, a wonderful bar there, perfectly managed by Sterling and the crew there. He's the owner for over a decade on Highway 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
April 23rd, 1985, New Coke is introduced. On the afternoon of July 11th, 1985, Coca-Cola held a press conference to announce the return of the original formula.
Yeah.
Coke Classic. So 79 days to keep you from doing the math. Peter Jennings of ABC News interrupted General Hospital with breaking news to alert viewers that Coke was bringing Coke Classic back. Can you imagine? I mean,
it was a marketing ploy, and it worked.
Can you imagine, though, like the stuff that shows get interrupted now for breaking news, like wars and things like that?
Oh, yeah, you know it's not good.
Yeah, 1985, he interrupted a soap opera to tell you Classic Coke was coming back.
It was breaking news is overused now. back then to interrupt programming was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but do you not believe? So that was ABC, right, with Peter Jennings?
Yep. Oh, Coca-Cola had a big buy with ABC.
Yeah. Say, look, we got this big buy coming in. We need you to break some news.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, everybody believes that it was a marketing ploy. Why would you get rid of the best formula of all time when it came to a soft drink?
Yeah, and if the other networks did not interrupt programming, they probably, Peter Jennings, God rest his soul, I assume.
Yeah, I think Peter's not with us anymore, Jimmy.
Would never admit to this, but was probably told by the sales department, hey, they're going to spend a lot more with us than they are the other networks, so we need to break this story.
Has there ever been a documentary on this, Rocky? On the original Coke, the new Coke? Because I think it'd be pretty fascinating.
Out there. I haven't seen it. I know that Stranger Things lived it up.
Well, you know, the other theory is that Diet Coke is only new Coke without sugar, which people... We're very close to the Coca-Cola people, and they have said that is absolutely untrue.
Yeah, I can still remember the taste a little bit of new Coke.
Yeah. Anyway, all that to tell you, we love our ice-cold Coca-Cola cooler. Other people that sponsor the show, our friends at Redmond Vodka. I do rum and Coke. I've never done a vodka and Coke. I don't think that happens. What about a vodka and Sprite?
My ex-wife's... So my former mother-in-law's boyfriend used to do vodka and Coke.
Wow.
And that is just not as good as Coke is and as good as Redmond is. I do not suggest that.
I've done vodka and Sprite, though, absolutely.
Yeah. No, vodka and Sprite's good.
Yeah.
It drink good.
It drink good, don't it?
But Redmond vodka, basically, just you can drink it any which way. I know a lot of people like it with a little tonic. Some like it with a little soda, a little orange juice to get your morning going. Maybe one of those Bloody Marys on the early Saturday or Sundays for brunch. It's gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled. It's a locally owned and operated product. It is fantastic. Pick up a bottle. Available in 22 states now. It is Redmond Vodka.
Hey, did that video work, Rockstar, that I sent you? Listen, before we get back to Ole Miss and Auburn and Alabama and Tennessee here in this segment, what are we doing in the world, guys? This is a new machine computer. This is how Chipotle's testing this. How they're going to make your Chipotle bowls. If this all works. Are you okay with this or no?
I mean, do they get it right?
That's the problem. There's no way.
Well, I mean, humans get it wrong. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, last night I got it to go, and they left out the ranch and the garlic aioli.
I mean, if they get it the way I order it and it's good, it's good, I'm fine with it. I don't care what they do.
Still tip the machine, though?
It's being shot out of the tubes.
Well, they'll ask for the tip.
Right? It shoots out of these tubes, right? And one thing I don't like about this is I can't talk up the person to throw me a little extra pico de gallo.
Well, I'm sure there'll be the option.
Can I get a little extra corn?
Like, do you want double meat? I always go double meat on stuff like that when I order it.
But how many jobs is this costing?
I mean, how many people are in Chipotle right now?
Yeah, I'm just saying. LinkedIn, by the way, because of new AI technology, laying off 660 more people.
Well, I used to always ignore the invites anyway. I got so many LinkedIn invites, and I'm like, I am not signing up for LinkedIn.
I will say, I think where I am on AI, and I think this is really, really dangerous. But after COVID, a good portion of our society got really lazy, and they didn't want to work. And I hate that people are losing jobs, but I wonder how much of this was pushed because you've got to fill the workforce.
Right. So you're saying places like Chipotle, hard to get people to work the line to scoop all that in there. So if they come up with this tube that shoots in the ingredients, they don't have to worry about filling that role.
Yeah, I just know a lot of people that are in the industry right now, and they're having a hard time staffing.
Yeah.
But I hate this AI stuff. Hate it.
Yeah. I don't like machines making my bowls either.
Yeah, my brother's got one of those cars he says drives themselves, but I remind him, not only have you and my other brother that drive those cars, they both hit animals, so it's not really good at driving itself if it hits animals. But, I had to ride in the back seat with him to dinner the other night. And he's like, watch this. It takes a left turn by. So I don't want a car driving me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a good car like Kit.
Lance just wants another human driving.
That's true.
him.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if I've got like Kit and I can rely on Kit and I can take a nap to the beach, I'm all about it. I just don't think you can believe these cars are actually going to drive you home.
To be fair, I drive my own car and I hit an animal the other day too.
Did you?
Yeah, it was like
dog, I assume.
No, it was an armadillo or a possum or something. I mean, he was in the middle of the road. Nothing I could do.
You would say that. It was probably a dog.
It was one of the two. I couldn't tell.
You probably swerved to hit.
I looked back in my window.
It might have been a dog?
No, it was not a dog. I don't know, he's playing up to you. It was either an armadillo or a possum. I'm not sure which. I saw it in my rearview mirror tumbling back over to the...
if you hit a dog, people stop, right? I mean, that's the right thing to do.
I do, yeah.
I mean,
I don't think I've ever hit a dog.
If I had a dog or a cat or something like that. If it's an armadillo or a possum, they're kind of.
Karen says Chipotle is worth $49.5 billion.
No, I can believe that. They're everywhere.
It's always out of sight,
Karen.
out of mind. I'm a Taco Mama guy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know what they do there? They make them by hand. And I can talk them up a little bit and get a little extra pico de gallo on there.
Yep.
I love the pico de
Get a
gallo.
little spice on that margarita.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. A little football. Quinyon Junkins. He's is he making a promise here? I think it's sort of a promise. Here's Quinyon Junkins, a running back from Ole Miss before they go play at Auburn, off of a bye week. That's important to hear. Last year after the bye week, they were 0-4. Here we go.
Quinyon last year, coming off of a bye week, this team went 0-4. And, with everything happening down the stretch, I know you and some other players, credited different things for what happened down the stretch and all that. Do you feel like coming off of a bye kind of set that in motion with starting with Alabama last year and going down?
I would say just compared to this season and last season, we're kind of not in the same situation. We did just come off a win, though, so I would say just the mentality that we have and like how locked in and dialed in everyone is, you can already tell like nobody's relaxed or anything like that. They know what the goal is and everybody's come back focused.
What is this Ole Miss team to you guys? I mean,
I still don't know. I like Jackson Dart a lot. I love Quinyon. One loss. That's it. 5-1. And when you look at the remaining schedule, it's one of those schedules where they could really run. I mean, they could make a 11-1 run, which is insane.
I missed the promise. What was the promise?
But I think they lose.
That
Saturday.
they won't be 0-4. That's not going to happen to us again.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't really hear it like that.
Yeah. I was expecting him to say, "We are beating Auburn."
No, I wasn't a guarantee.
Okay, guarantee. Just promise they're not going to be 0-4 because they did collapse after the Alabama loss last year.
Quinyon coming into the season was preseason first team All-American and well deserved, but he's only had one monster game. And that was probably offensively, it was their best game by far against LSU.
He leads the team with rushing, 440 yards, I think is the number.
Yeah, but still only 4.1 a clip.
Yeah, no, that's way down. I'm just saying he leads the team in rushing for 440 yards a game.
Yeah,
440 yards
which is odd for a Lane Kiffin team who Lane Kiffin loves to run the football.
And I would have said that if you would have told me 440, I would have thought that Jackson Dart had more than that through 6 games.
Me too.
So did you just say you think Ole Miss could be 11-1?
I think it could. I don't think they will. I think they lose Saturday.
They're still at Georgia too.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, though,
10-2.
You had this team 7-5 a few weeks ago.
The schedule's gotten easier. I mean, to me, A&M's gotten easier, right?
By Ole Miss playing better or other teams playing down?
Well, I think A&M is down and Ole Miss is probably a little bit better.
I think Mississippi State right now they're
struggling. Yeah. I mean, at Georgia, at Auburn, that's really, if I'm an Ole Miss fan, I look and say, if I could just pick off one of those, I'm 10-2. That's probably better than I thought it was going to be this year.
So you got them possibly 10-2. I got them losing this week at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
No, I think they will.
And if they lose this week at Jordan-Hare Stadium, we'll be back here on Monday, and you'll be talking 7-5 again.
No, because I'm with you. I think there is a good chance Auburn wins this game. And even if Auburn does, Georgia, then 9-3, A&M's the difference between 9-3 or 8-4.
Now Alabama, Tennessee. And let's talk a little bit about the two quarterbacks. First off, I don't think many people realize this, but Tennessee is number 3 in the country in sacking quarterbacks.
Clay just mentioned the freshman, or Clay earlier mentioned the freshman.
James Pierce.
Yeah, and if you're an Alabama fan, it's got to scare you to death the way Alabama plays on the tackles, especially left tackle.
James Pierce and Tyler Barron off of both edges.
Yep.
Can really heat up the quarterback. Number 3 in the country in sacks. Alabama, I think you told me, is 3 from the bottom on protecting the quarterback.
Sacks allowed, yep.
So you got way up here at getting after the quarterback and way down here at protecting the quarterback.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup.
Let's see if that bothers Jaylen Milroe. Here's Jaylen Milroe.
How do you not let frustration start to seep in with some of the pass protection issues that have happened during games? Like if you don't even have time to throw the ball, how do you kind of bounce back up and get your mindset back?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is with the mindset of just approaching it just one play at a time, not losing focus. I think that's very key. Not to get too high, not to get too low. You have to be at the same position all throughout the game, whether it's good or bad. I think that's very key. Just to have the right mindset, the right approach. And then another thing too is that mistakes happen. Mistakes happen no matter who we are. We're not perfect. We're not perfect at all by any means. There's one person in this world that's ever perfect, is my Lord and Savior. And so we had to focus on that, you know. And the biggest thing too is just everyone has mistakes, but we can all fix them. And so that's very key, you know. That's what we're focusing on in the locker rooms, that we all can get better. So I think that's very key.
Other than his Lord or Savior playing left tackle this weekend, you've got to worry about protection for this Alabama quarterback this week. He does seem to handle people running at him very well.
Yeah, but he hasn't run as much recently, and that's why fans are asking, and we saw a lot of it in the chat room yesterday, do you think he's playing banged up? Is it a tweaked hammy? Lance mentioned maybe a shoulder issue, because he has been running less, and I just don't know if that's an option this week. The way, like you said, they get after the quarterback, I'm fearful for Jaylen Milroe that he's going to have to use his legs a lot this week.
But if you don't pass rush correctly, it does open up some running lanes.
It does.
Which could open the door for Milroe to get some great runs, like Dak had a couple last week. Flip side of this is the other quarterback. This isn't the same quarterback matchup we had last year up in Knoxville. Here is Josh Heupel talking about Joe Milton's confidence. And Jaylen Milroe's got a little confidence. I mean, that kid has grown into a little bit of a swagger at quarterback for Alabama. What about Joe Milton, who is now completing 27% of his passes when he's pressured at Tennessee? Here is Josh Heupel.
Joe's a pretty confident guy. Did not play his best game the other night. How is his confidence now? Do you feel like you need to boost him up at all, or does he need any of that?
I mean, I think, you know, when you don't play your best football, you got to be able to wipe it clean. When you play your best football, you got to be able to wipe it clean too. And at the end of the day, have a routine that takes you to kickoff so that you are putting yourself in a consistent position to go play your best. Joe's been really mature in how he has prepared. There's some things fundamentally that he's done really well that he didn't do in the last one. We got to be a little bit better in the pass game. That's him. That's, you know, the wideouts. It's everybody.
You know what you don't hear a lot of yet is Nico Amalieva. No. You don't hear a lot of talk about when are you going to play the star-studded 5-star recruit.
Well, you did, I think, right after the Florida game. As bad as Joe Milton played in that, really, as you pointed out to Clay, really one quarter against Florida.
That was it. Yeah, gave up 20, I think, in the second quarter. Outside of that,
he didn't play terrible at Florida. 16 of 20, or excuse me, 20 of 34, 287, 2 touchdowns and a pick. I mean, that's not awful football.
I think if I'm a Tennessee fan, though, if you lose, you could lose the next 2 weeks at Bama, at Kentucky.
Easily.
And I think at that point, then you start to have that conversation.
Time to move forward at that point. One more on the Bama-Tennessee game this week, 2:30 on CBS. Great moment yesterday. Kirk McNair, I believe, is the longtime writer who's covered Alabama. He got the last question in yesterday's news conference. You saw it live if you were watching Overtime with us here on this platform. But it's worth revisiting because I love Nick Saban's answer here to Kirk's question.
31 sacks so far this year, if that is concerning, and is that fixable at this time of the year?
Well, to the first part of your question, I would say, hell yeah. To the second part is, I do think we have guys that are capable. I think it goes back to that same attention to detail. I mean, there's little things like in certain protections, I know I have inside help. So why would I get beat outside? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So these are not all capability issues. You know, some of them are things that we could fix.
Yeah. So talking about left tackle, if you got Tyler Booker who's helping you on the inside, why do you get beat outside?
Yeah, it's puzzling, and then sometimes it just doesn't even look like Proctor gets out of his stance. I mean, sometimes it just looks like he turns his head and watches the guy run by him.
Yeah, we specifically talked about Caden Proctor on Bama and Bourbon yesterday, me and Aaron Suttle. So I thought Aaron had some interesting points.
Go get that. Bama, Roll Tide Pods at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
And, you know, there was the one play Saturday, and I want to say it was in the second quarter, where Justice Haynes is the running back, and, you know, the right tackle gets beat, and the kid Haynes gets plowed.
Yep.
I mean, so your backs aren't helping you a whole lot either. A lot of times, if they're the left tackle gets beat and your back can't block,
And Nyblack's your best tight end at being a threat receiving, but he's more of a wide receiver body than a tight end body.
Yeah, so I don't,
they have a lot of holes, Brown. They're trying to plug with just so many fingers.
Yeah, I don't know if it's fixable at this point. I mean, we're half the season in, and the center can't even effectively snap it all the time to the quarterback. They're still dealing with that. How are you still dealing with that almost to the bye week?
And I think by far this is the most disappointing unit. There were question marks on the wide receivers. There was definitely a question mark when it came to the quarterback. The offensive line, I think Alabama fans got sold a bill of goods. They were going to be dominant again.
The receivers have far exceeded my expectations, far exceeded what I thought I would get out of the receivers. The running backs have been who I thought they would be. The quarterback has been a little better than I thought he was going to be.
I agree.
The defense has been light years better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
The offensive line has been light years worse than I thought it was going to be.
Well, Lance said we were sold a bill of goods on the offensive line. I'm starting to wonder if I was sold a bill of goods on the offensive line coach. The smart offensive line people told me when this guy came from Kentucky that this is one of the best that's out there. And maybe Wolford is, but I have not seen evidence of it in his time at Alabama.
We'll see what happens against Tennessee in the rivalry this week. It was a crazy one, 52-49 last year. And the betting line, the total is under the losing score now for that game in Tuscaloosa. When we come back, I go back and forth on field rushes. I like them. I dislike them. I like them. I dislike them. We'll talk about that and do trash when we come back. The show is being brought to you today by our great friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern tomorrow night. It is Wednesday night. That means Odie's team trivia. Good chance Brown's going to be pinch hitting for me. I got another obligation that I'm going to be taking on, but you can go see Rocky, Will Haver, and Ryan Brown tomorrow night. That's a start a little after 8 o'clock. Enjoy some of the great food from Rodney Davis, including the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, my personal favorite, the Diablo sandwich. 2 locations now, the original in Crestline, and now one right there in Homewood. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff, Odie's Tavern.
Unlocked with Fox Sports' Brock Heward and Lance Taylor weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Going to a big football game? Walking around all day? Then you'll want comfortable shoes. This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. Score a touchdown with a new pair of ultra-comfortable running or walking shoes. Come to the New Balance Birmingham store. I'm telling you, we'll make sure you have a perfect fit and we'll treat you like the starting QB. Our job is to make sure your feet are happy. Visit the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A. Your feet will thank you.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails. And don't forget about that 29-degree man-sized drafts. It's Twin Peaks at the Patton Creek Shopping Centers.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
All right, back with you on the next round. Trash coming up in a second. Rockstar, give me cut 7 while I tell you about our friends at Way to Wellness. You know, I went by and had a doctor's appointment yesterday. Got some lab results back, and he was like, "Jim, are you in your 30s? God, you're doing something right." And I said, "You know what I'm doing, Doc? I became friends with the Brown Bandit." And I'm going to
30 years? We don't need them.
Leslie and her board-certified team at Way to Wellness is why my numbers are better, Doc. Thank you very much. Way to Wellness. A few years ago, I decided to change some of my bad eating habits and go with the plan they had for me at Way to Wellness. Every plan's different. No cookie-cutter plan. Find out more about Way to Wellness when you go to their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. No obligation. Just go check it out. In fact, you can do a free consultation with Leslie, free. There's no contract, no sign-up fees, and that consultation is free, so you can check it out without spending any money. Just do that. Aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Control some blood pressure numbers, cholesterol numbers, and whatever. Way to Wellness, aplanforme.com. All right, here we go. Truthfully, I like the court rushes and rushing the field. I do. I've seen a lot of them covering Alabama when they've been upset. Last year, about a year ago in Knoxville. It was a crazy scene. It was bad that Alabama lost, but it was pretty awesome to be there to see the field rushed. I mean, it was pretty crazy. But there is some downsides, and I go back and forth. I tell you guys this all the time. I love it. It looks good. It looks great. It's a great TV moment. Great aerials. Great. They show them and put them on their websites, their social media platforms, the team that wins. But then there's always the human interactions when this happens. And this isn't a Southern fan. This is a Notre Dame fan rushing the field after they beat USC. And we've all got cameras now.
Right.
And we're all trying to get that moment. And it really is unfair to put these student athletes in these situations. And I admire the fact that Caleb Williams handles this so well. Here we go.
Too well.
Here we go. Here we go. This guy's running out. He knows what he's doing. Just jumped onto the field. Running right for Caleb Williams.
He did it. Let me see those nails down, bro. Let me see those nails down, bro. Come on. Ah! We did it. We did it.
What a punk.
I mean, but you know, that's what they do. But when you're running up to the other team, man, and y'all are going to get mad. Y'all going to get mad if Caleb Williams had just done this to him and knocked him out of the way and knocked him down, bloodied his nose.
No, I would have no problem. You remember when Byron Houck got ear-holed by LeGarrette Blount when Oregon was leaving the field against Boise State? If one of Caleb's teammates completely knocks that guy out, I've got no problem with it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you let it go.
Those guys, you know, they've just played, they've just competed. They got to get off the field. Alabama's got to get off the field at Tennessee. You know, Alabama's got to get off the field at Georgia. I mean, you got to get off the field. Running out there, I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it. Have fun. Everybody have fun. But running up and jumping into those guys' faces, man, to me, you're taking a risk there. And we talk about, none of us judge legally anybody who, you know, it's against our religious beliefs. But if I'm ever on a jury, you ran out there where you're not supposed to be and you got in that guy's face and he hit you like this to get out of the way. Sorry, sir. Not guilty.
I mean, what do you think Jermaine Burton would have done to that guy?
Oh, he would have hit him.
Oh, heck yeah. I think we've seen that.
And you knew the win was coming for a while. And so to rush the field after knowing it was coming for a while, I think that's a little stupid.
And that was so premeditated. Like Jim said,
he
he
was
made
looking
a
for him.
beeline for Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
straight to
You
him.
saw him. He was on a swivel looking for him.
Yeah.
And you've got the whoever's operating the sound there. They're playing a little Dre and Tupac, and they're taunting him with California. I get all that, but that kid, if you line him up and completely destroy him, I got no problem with it. I would have loved to see it.
I mean, I'm with Dunaway. I can't hear. Let me show those fingernails. Show me those fingernails. I just got some random guy running up, getting in my face, and I'm on the field. I mean, it's only natural instinct. I can't believe Caleb Williams is that calm.
Yeah.
Speaks a lot about his calmness in the pocket, honestly, because it's only natural instinct just to forearm shift the guy away, and nobody should have a problem with that.
I hadn't seen the video. What I saw was a still shot of that guy taking a picture with Caleb.
Yeah.
And Caleb didn't say anything. He was just nice about it.
It looked like on the still shot, because I saw the same thing, Lance. It looked like Caleb had actually stopped to take the picture with him.
It did.
I did
was
not know.
shocked.
Yeah, I was too, but I did not know it was a guy running up like that.
Yeah. Trey says you have to find a way to penalize the fans. I mean, you got 100,000 of them out there at one time sometimes. Hard to penalize them. I saw Birmingham police one time try to hog tie with those zip ties every Tennessee fan that ran on the field, Legion Field.
Well, you know who this guy is. Make an example of him.
Well, I was
permanently ban him from Notre Dame games.
You guys know I come up with some creative ideas.
Yep.
I think what you do, PA announcer, hey, I just want to let everybody know the 68,000 here. If you decide to run on the field, you're risking whatever. And there, it would keep me in tune. Like, I turned that game off immediately. If I knew that players could free up and destroy any fan on the field,
right,
then I would stay tuned in.
You're making it for a TV. If you'd like to see the field rushing and USC fighting their way off the field, please go to ESPN Plus now. We'll be streaming that live.
This field rush brought to you by mybookie.ag.
I hear you. Let's do trash. It's brought to you by Mortgage Right. Hit that big button, Rockstar.
I have you on camera, and I have
I'm not threatening you. I'm
you
gonna go
okay.
there and cut that.
Is this your plant? I have no incentive to give you any positive politeness at all, do I? You were nothing but rude and belligerent. Have a good day, ma'am.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Yes, you too. Thank you.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every step of the process. As a veteran-owned, operated company, they understand the difference between working with someone who gets it and someone who doesn't. They've made it their mission to simplify the VA loan process. Visit their locations, Highway 2 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply mortgageright.com/TNR, 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. It's kind of a freaky story. I don't know if you guys believe in curses, but we've got a ghost hunter, and I hope we got some pictures here. Did we, Rocky?
Ooh, ghost hunter. They're real ghosts.
He has visited, quote, the most haunted doll in the world in his most horrifying challenge yet, and now people believe he's cursed. Kalani Smith, professional ghost hunter, regularly explores haunted places and shares his creepy experiences on TikTok with his 2.7 million viewers. Now, the 25-year-old has previously spotted a, quote, little girl lurking in an abandoned house used to film a horror movie, as well as hearing unexplained voices while in a mansion built in 1872. Now he's taken part in a ritual sacrifice to a well-known cursed doll named Robert with a fellow explorer exploring with Josh. Now, while the clip posted on Instagram has racked up over 88,000 views and more than 9,000 likes, many social media users are refusing to tune in, as it's believed that even one look at the toy can unleash his curse. Is this like us looking at it right now can give you a curse?
I think so.
That's only a photo. I don't believe it.
Way to read that last, Lance.
Good job, Rockstar. Yeah. Cursed us all.
Now, quote, according to Kalani, we got attacked after the blood ritual was performed and felt like we caught on fire. It got insanely hot, and then we both ended up throwing up. Josh was considering going to the hospital if his condition didn't improve. Quote, he was laying down, pouring water on himself. We had to eventually leave the property for 20 minutes before returning to continue our investigation in his chamber. Now, in the clip, the pair reveal the terrifying repercussions on being in contact with the doll after offering up their blood as a sacrifice. Josh films himself struggling to breathe before almost throwing up as he speaks with a friend on the phone about the, quote, demonic experience with the doll. Video cuts to another clip of him a week later where he explains that Robert is believed to be more haunted than Annabelle. As a final note, he adds that it's going to be under a cleanse and ends with apologizing to Robert as he, quote, can't take this anymore.
So we did this blood sacrifice with this haunted doll, right? And it made me throw up. So
yeah, so it's clearly the doll.
Yeah,
it looks like a cross between Arthur and Curious George,
maybe.
And what's it? I mean, he's got a tracksuit on, Santa suit. What's on its right arm?
I don't know. It also looks like it has Planet of the Apes on
it's
his
arm.
arm.
It's a little kid, right?
It's holding a doll.
Yeah, it's a doll holding a doll.
Doll holding a doll. It's a never-ending cycle.
Uh-huh.
Doll holding a doll, holding a doll, holding a doll. There was a painting that kept being sold at auction. You did that trash story a few months back that kept haunting people.
Oh, yeah? I'd quit buying it.
I would, too.
No, it's not a Daniel A. Moore, I'm sure.
No.
Only haunts the opponents.
Airport security at Panama City's Tacumen International Airport on Friday searched a Copa airline flight bound for Tampa for a suspected bomb, only to find an adult diaper.
Double X, by the way.
I mean, are we bragging here that I've got to wear a double X diaper? Maximum absorbency.
Now, the plane had returned to Panama City Airport earlier Friday following reports of a possible bomb. Plane landed around 11 a.m. local time, moved to an isolated stretch of the tarmac where 144 passengers were taken off the plane. Panama Civil Aeronautics Authority said on the social media platform Twitter, quote, an anti-explosive team inspected the aircraft. Jose Castro, the head of the airport security team, said a suspicious object in one of the plane's bathrooms was found to be an adult diaper.
What has A-Rod done with his life?
I mean, Rockstar, is that one ribbed for my excitement? For yours?
Oh, my God.
Hey, you ever smile like that when you go to the bathroom? I mean, he's pretty happy.
In my pants?
He's pretty happy to be TTing in his pants. Yeah.
Maximum absorbency, Jim.
Yeah.
The absorbency is what's maximum there.
Have you guys heard of the Devil's Chair in a Florida cemetery?
You know, I have not. This is a very creepy trash you've put together here, Rockstar.
It's October, man.
Yes, it is.
Now, Florida has plenty of spooky attractions and haunting legends, but this one might just take the cake. Tucked away in the Lake Helen Cemetery is a brick-laid seat that's known by locals as the Devil's Chair. Now, the cemetery is found near the Casadega Spiritualist Camp. Several of the original Casadega Spiritualists are buried there, including the camp's founder, George Colby. Now, the camp's website states the community was founded in the late 1800s by Colby, a medium who was allegedly led to the area by a, quote, spirit guide named Seneca. Now, the community is made up of around 57 acres with 55 homes, serving as a hub for mediums and spiritualists. As told by a historian, Charlie Carlson, in the book Weird Florida, the cemetery has guards posted each Halloween to ward off pranksters and curiosity seekers looking for goblins. Sign posted at the cemetery says it closes at dusk, with anyone on the premises after 7 p.m. being considered a trespasser. Couldn't you come up with a better title for your book than Weird Florida?
That is, it kind of goes without saying.
Yeah, but at that point, it's Weird Florida 1, Weird Florida Volume 2.
Bracket bet payoff. You've got to sit in that chair from sundown to sunup.
I'm really not interested.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm more concerned about the old bloke that's buried on the right there.
And the old Eric.
Did they?
We struck it.
Did they plant a tree instead of burying somebody there? That tree has grown right up out of his casket area.
That's a good question there.
Now, according to the stories, quote, if you sit on the big brick chair you see there at midnight, the devil will communicate with you, Carlson's book reads.
Not a chance in
Prince
hell.
of Darkness also enjoys a cold beer once in a while. So they're told if you place an unopened can of beer on the chair, it will be empty the next morning.
Yeah. And that grounds crew guy is very, very satisfied the next morning.
You sat in the devil's chair.
Put cash there. See what happens. It's haunted.
So we got some Scottish insults, some of the best jibes you'll hear in Scotland.
Can you say them in a Scottish accent?
I will try. You ready?
Please.
Let me get in Scottish. I might have to take a second.
Yeah, you got to get in character.
Before you start reading them, try to get in your Scottish. Say something Scottish. Start with golf terms.
Give me a good golf term.
Great shot, laddie.
Great shot, laddie.
Okay.
You're doing my nut in. That's a way to tell someone they're annoying you. Shut your puss.
Whoa.
Usually aimed at someone who is being loud.
Yeah.
Your bum's out the window. You're talking nonsense. Away and bow your yield. That's away and boil your head. Beat it. You're humming. You smell bad or smell of something.
Oh, you're humming. I like that one.
You're awfully crabbit. You're awfully grumpy. And then finally, face like a bulldog licking piss off a nettle. Means you're ugly.
Why don't you say
She had a face like a bulldog licking piss off a nettle.
There you go. That's more Scottish.
I like that. Yeah.
Very good.
Lucky Charms.
I knew Rockstar would have a picture of this, but I had to Google it ahead of time.
All right.
Marie Tamara, 28 years old from Syracuse, has garnered a horde of thirsty social media followers thanks to her height. Racy Model claims that she's earning a staggering $100,000 per week, more than $4.3 per year, flaunting her frame online. Earlier this month, she says she's 7 feet tall.
All right. Do we have a full shot of her, Rockstar? Because she's standing on something right there. That is 100% clear. Look at
the story continues.
All right.
Yeah, because her
knees don't match up.
Right.
Yeah.
Her knees are basically doorknob level.
Yeah.
That's a great pick.
Take my
Earlier this month.
Why is Bruce Jenner carrying that guy out?
She told the Daily Star the adult content creator revealed that she recently ditched dating taller guys. Marie said they all seem to have only one personality trait, and that is height. Now the social media sensation shared her preference for pint-sized guys or anyone under 6 feet tall. Don't know why you'd be in her range, brother.
Yeah.
Brother. Say, quote, I used to date taller guys, but recently I've been dating shorter kings, so that's my thing. And earlier this month, Maria introduced a new 5'11" date in a rather elaborate way. She flung the short king onto her bed, and she went on to say, quote, who wants uppies next? To her 1.6 million Instagram followers.
Yeah.
Now, somebody did finally call her out. She finally revealed she's not 7 feet tall. She is almost 6'3".
Yeah, I knew that it didn't match up. The knees weren't right in that first picture. And
but
then,
I'll tell you, I looked at her Instagram. I mean,
she's a tall glass of water.
Yeah, those aren't
6'3" is tall for a girl.
Those aren't good pictures compared to what she's got on Instagram.
So you're saying she's good looking?
Well, I mean, according to what I saw on Instagram, she's got a full makeup team probably based on that.
You're 6'3". Could you date a girl your height?
I mean, I could.
Would it have to be a 10?
I don't think I've ever dated anybody over 5'6" or 5'7".
Would you let her pick her up over her shoulder and throw you under the bed?
Right. Would you be the short king?
Get uppies next?
If she called you short king? Come on, short king, get in bed with me. Stop at the sack, short king.
Would you guys date a 6'2"?
No. I like Jennifer just the height she is.
Dunaway?
I mean, if Maggie grew a couple inches, I'd enjoy that, I think. Be more of her to love.
Weird story there.
Yep, that is a weird one.
It would be better if she was 7 feet, though.
It would be a real story then at that point instead of a social media fake. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Tell us about Mortgage Right again.
Buying a home, major milestone in life. Getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right, who do mortgages the right way, locally owned and operated. They're standing by to help you today. Visit locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, great social media win, not just a win on the football field by Missouri this past weekend, but a great social media win at Kentucky as well. This hour brought to you by Champy's Chicken, Champy's world-famous chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew taking care of you right now. Hand-cut chicken fingers, cooked to order, southern fried chicken. I'm a big two-breast guy. Whether you're 5'11" or 7 feet, those breasts are fantastic at Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling will take care of you. Mississippi Delta Recipe Tamales. In Lexington, what do they call their field at Lexington?
Kroger Field.
Kroger Field.
That's right. Shopping lane.
So if you end up beating Kentucky and you run a social media account like at Missouri, why don't you just come up with a Kroger grocery store receipt about the results?
Oh, wow.
UK Kroger Field. They got the whole thing there. Brady Cook, total yards, $207.00. And it goes down with all that. Passing yards, 296 yards and 0 cents, blah, blah, blah. Missouri wins 38-21. A great receipt there. Keeping the receipts on the way back to Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like that?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Like South Carolina more and more.
I mean, you
don't
whip their ass. Who cares?
Yep. Go Gamecocks.
Oh, I like these things. That's a really creative way done. And it's wrinkled up like it's not made.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
All right. When we come back, other things in the show.
Color Lance unimpressed.
Right here on the next round. Stay with us.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
As summer bids adieu, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's Fall Invader season. Hold on tight, because we got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight: box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and show those Fall Invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your fall. Take charge today.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant Bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention Next Round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in Cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Final segment of the show. Don't forget to Disrupt the Media bonus hour coming up right when we're done at the top of the hour. Do you know who it is today, Brownie?
I got the email. If you'll give me 2 seconds, I'll pull it up.
I think it's Ball.
Is it Ball of the Tom Luke?
It's the Burnout.
Or the Burnout.
The Burnout.
The Burnout.
I knew it was
Peter
you.
Burns. Thank you. Yes.
Peter Burns. Did you see his interview with Emmitt Smith?
I did not. Emmitt's not historically a very good interview.
Emmitt Smith, Peter Burns, talking on Sirius XM this past weekend. Peter Burns and Emmitt discussing if he had not gone to Florida, where would he have gone? Florida State was not the answer.
Miami?
Miami was not the answer.
Tulsa.
Tulsa would have been an amazing answer, though.
It wasn't Alabama. It was Auburn.
Yeah, because it was right on the tail end of Bo Jackson and Brent Ford.
Pat Dice,
Scambia not far.
Yeah.
Pat Dice sold him on. Bo had just won the Heisman.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, one of the reasons he thought about Auburn over Florida, Alabama, and some of the programs back then, he really wanted to play on grass because back then the turfs were so bad in the 80s, and Auburn played on natural grass. And that was why he almost chose Auburn. Ended up going to Florida, who I think was on turf at the time.
Not that Emmitt didn't do just fine at Florida. He did. But, boy, in that Pat Dye offense, the way they ran the football, could you imagine some of the numbers he could have put up in that offense? Now, again, he put up great numbers at Florida anyway.
That's right. Could you imagine going from Bo and all those running backs they had back there to Emmitt Smith?
That'd be crazy.
Our friends at Alabama Power are about to bring you some powered-up stats when it comes to college football. I'm going to do some ESPN win percentages or make the college football playoff percentages. I'm going to give you the percentage. You tell me which team it is. A little surprising to me today. Our friends at Alabama Power want to remind you that if you have an Alabama Power account on their app, you can do so many things. You got the power of their mobile app right in your hands. You can find out now when your power is coming back on, how much you're using, make a payment. It's all right there. Just go to alabamapower.com/mobile app, alabamapower.com/mobile app. Best odds to make the college football playoff is 69%. Best odds to make the college playoffs is 69% according to ESPN. Which team is that?
Well, it would have been Georgia, and it still might be Georgia based on schedule, but with the Brock Bowers injury, I think that is massive. I'm going to say it's Michigan.
I'm going to say it's still Georgia because Michigan at least has to play Ohio State and Penn State still.
It is Oklahoma, 69%.
Who did this?
ESPN. You're familiar with them.
I've heard of those. Is this that All-State predictor? I always think they just throw numbers out because they sold a sponsorship
problem,
to All-State.
even if Oklahoma is 12-0 with a rematch in Texas and they lose that game, I don't know if they get in.
I'm with Lance. A one-loss non-conference champion Oklahoma, I don't think is in.
To your point, Texas is a 27% chance of making the college football playoffs. 55% is the next. It just shows you the parity that these numbers are not in the 80s or 90s, by the way. Ohio State is 55%. Florida State, 43%. Washington, 39%. What have I not said yet?
Did you skip Georgia?
No. Penn State, 35%. Michigan, 32%. Georgia, 30% to make the playoffs.
And this is ESPN's machine, right?
This is ESPN's
machine. They need to unplug it. I don't know if you've ever seen Office Space. Take it out to a field and beat it to death. Because Vegas, much more on top than ESPN is. You know your favorite is to win the national championship right now?
I've got that for you. So what I was setting up right here.
Okay. I'll let you roll.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's Michigan.
Oh, my bookie has Georgia at plus 255, Michigan at plus 285.
Okay, so I saw Michigan yesterday was the favorite. Georgia was right behind them. I saw you can get Alabama at 16-1. There is never in my days have I seen Alabama at 16-1. Typically at this time, they're about plus 280, plus 3-1.
Check these odds this morning. MyBookie.ag plus 1,600 is where you find Alabama. But to show you the gap between you have Georgia, Michigan, and everyone else, Georgia plus 255, Michigan plus 285. Florida State's the next best odds at plus 860. Ohio State at plus 880. Washington all the way now to plus 890. Then another big gap to get to Penn State at plus 1225. So in Vegas or mybookie.ag, Georgia, Michigan, gap. Florida State, Ohio State, Washington, gap. Penn State, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, and then gap Oregon at plus 3,100.
Yeah. Again, it's the All-State playoff predictor, and I've always just felt like All-State had, and we see this a lot in our profession, like we'll have a sponsor and like, we really want to sponsor something. And we're like, okay, what could they sponsor? And it felt like ESPN's just like, let's just let them do the playoff predictor. Because how can you predict it? Because it is chosen by humans, right? There's no specific formula. It's just humans look at it and say, this is who ought to be in there. So I really never understood how All-State predicted it.
I think at the end of the year, I think we're sleeping on Michigan, if we are. Okay, everybody's talking about the schedule. I think at the end of the year, people are going to be like, damn, this might be one of the best Big Ten teams we've ever seen.
If I ask you how many straight Big Ten games Michigan has won, can you get close? Straight Big Ten games, count out the playoff losses.
Yeah, I think I can get close.
Okay, what do you got?
I would say, so it'd be, their last loss was 21, no.
They've beaten Ohio State
20 Ohio State, I think. I would say that it is 22 straight.
Does this count the Big Ten championship game?
All Big Ten games.
8, 16, I'm going to go 23.
19 straight. Their last loss not to Ohio State, at Michigan State, where they played this weekend in East Lansing.
That was the one that basically got Mel Tucker the big extension that
exactly.
Michigan State is now paying out. Or is trying to fight paying out, I guess I should say.
In that game.
That was the Kenneth Walker game.
In that game, Blake Corum was a sophomore. Little freshman quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, missed the mesh late in that game with Corum. Ball fumbled. Michigan State recovers. They go on and go ahead and win the football game.
There was a very controversial call in that game. Do you remember I think it wiped a Michigan touchdown off the board or fumble inside
it was
the 5.
a strip sack.
Yeah, strip sack.
Yeah, because Michigan was rolling up until that point. J.J. McCarthy ain't little J.J. anymore. He had one bad game against Bowling Green.
Little J.J.'s grown up?
We have yet to see how good this guy can be. I brought it up to our friend Brock on Unlock because he's done a couple of these Michigan games a couple of weeks ago. And I said this, and I've said this all year, this is by far the best quarterback that Jim Harbaugh's had. And he said, I don't think people realize how good he is. He's a legit 6'3" and can run almost a 4.4. He's like a 4.45 guy.
Does this guy?
And he has been yet to take. He hasn't been asked to take a game over.
Does he get a Heisman picture? You think? It won't be till November because that's when they play all their important
games.
Be a late
rush, but in modern day football, you can make a run in November.
Yeah, he's 10-1 right now, so he is I think he's 4th or 5th right now. So, yeah, I mean, he's in the conversation.
There's an old saying in this business and a lot of businesses, first in wins. I don't think that's true in the Heisman. I kind of want to be the guy that's playing the best last.
Maybe in the old days, you had to be a preseason favorite.
Kills you
before
now.
every game was on television. That's right. We pick you apart in September and October, and November is where we find the new darling that rises to the top when their team is good.
Breaking news, if you've seen this.
What is it?
I haven't.
Dion, Coach Prime, is releasing a book, 21 Ways to Win on and off the Field. It will come out March 12th of 2024. Not only does he have time to recruit and blow 29-point leads, he's writing a book right now.
You think Dion's ever read a page in this book?
This is actually the top headline right now on ESPN.
One more thing to tell you about. Our friends at Milo's. Loaded fries are here. Take a look at these great things. You got the traditional Milo's crinkle-cut fries. Now we're going to load them up for a meal in itself right here. We've got the Mexi fries, queso, bacon, jalapenos on top of that bowl right there, the Mexi fries. And right there, if you just want a meal in one bowl, just go with the saucy fries. Basically, you get a 100% pure ground beef burger, chopped up, grilled onions, Milo sauce, and queso on top of that. Download the Milo's mobile app. Use the promo code NEXTROUND, and you'll get a free loaded fries. Again, the Milo's mobile app. Download it. Use Next Round, and get a free loaded fry from our friends at Milo's. They played a rivalry game this past weekend that involved the college football's heaviest rivalry trophy. This is from Saturday Down South Today. Do you know what it is? I always thought that pig was heavy.
The Floyd of Rosedale does seem heavy.
That looks heavy.
And I was talking to Jacob Zeno in our weekly interview with him. He said the Bones trophy is really heavy. The UAB and Memphis will play for
Memphis UAB play for it again this weekend.
Battle of the Bones this weekend. He said it's a super heavy trophy.
Almost went UAB my upset alert.
Did you now?
Almost.
Okay.
It's got to be this weekend.
No, they played it last weekend.
Oh, last weekend.
Played it last weekend.
Who was it?
It is out in the state of Nevada where UNLV beat Nevada in Reno.
I didn't know they had a trophy.
It's the Fremont Cannon. Weighs
I've seen this.
545 pounds. 45-27. Barry Odom's Running Rebels win the game. Pretty good little coaching job.
I think
Barry
they're
Odom's
5-1,
doing.
aren't they? Yeah, they're 5-1. They get Colorado State this week, and he's turned that program around. A guy that Missouri just kind of kicked to the curb there. They didn't like him.
I didn't think he was doing an awful job. He was hovering around 500. The problem was he was following up a legend in Gary Pinkel.
Yep.
But if I'm Barry Odom, keep the cannon. We ain't lugging that shit back.
Well, it was already in Vegas, so they didn't have to transport it.
That is a big. Oh, he got some guards too.
Yeah.
Armed guards, no less. I doubt there's bullets in those guns.
You got to. A cannon, it always helps you keep the opposing fans off your field if you want to as well. UNLV, pretty fun team to watch when they had a good win over Vandy earlier this year. Caught a little bit of that game.
They
out
did.
in
Big comeback.
Same stadium the Raiders play in.
That would be a hell of a story because Mountain West still a good conference. It's not the Sun Belt. It's probably not even the American, but UNLV has been pretty dominant. But right now, second in the standings is UNLV.
We got ball coming up on the Disrupt the Media bonus hour coming up.
Burnout.
Don't forget.
Burnout.
Is it Burnout?
It is Burnout.
It is Burnout. You said that earlier. My bad, Rockstar. The Burnout with Peter Burns and Ryan Brown coming up here in 60 seconds. Don't forget, Thursday night is Bud Light game night. We're at Tin Roof this week. Make plans to be with us 5 to 7, 6 to 7 on all our video platforms. That's where you can come out and scan the QR code. Have a chance to win Alabama-Auburn tickets at the end of the year down at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Always a great scene. Got to be on site. Scan that QR code to get into the drawing. It's Tin Roof this Thursday night. We're back with you 9 a.m. Central next live show. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
It is the Burnout. He is ESPN's Peter Burns. Massive news in the Southeastern Conference as it relates to the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll get right to that on this show that is presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. 120% sign-on or 110% sign-on bonus, 110% sign-on bonus. When you make your initial deposit, that is free money to you. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. What is up, Bernsey? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm nicely manicured from our friends over at Manscaped, so that's
right. You look
good.
great.
I don't know if you
looked
saw
better.
on Friday. I went with the scruff because, like, I'm always jealous because, like, Jesse Palmer and Jordan Rodgers and those guys can
Right.
pull off this like European, like, really cool scruff, and I'm like, I'd like to do that. And so finally, I got the Manscaped stuff in the mail. Did it, so I'm happy, and it worked good too this weekend. So I'm feeling nice and refreshed.
Very nice. TNR20, by the way, to save 20%. Or no, I'm sorry, Burns. Burns is the code. Burns to save 20%. What am I doing? I had the wrong code.
I had my own promo code. This is amazing.
Go tell your wife she's married to a promo code. That's what Luganbill told his wife. I hope you know you're married to a promo code.
Kind of a big deal.
Promo code BURNS, BURNS, BURNS for 20% off your initial order there at manscaped.com. All right. The breaking news today in Southeastern Conference football after the win in Nashville when Brock Bowers had to leave the field. It did not look great. Kirby gave a ray of hope when he said the x-rays were negative, but you knew there were more tests to come. And today the school announced, Georgia announced, that Brock Bowers will undergo an ankle stabilization surgery, most commonly known as the tightrope surgery, which, by the way, was developed and perfected right here in Birmingham with our buddies Norman Waldrop and Lyle King, great guys that are the guys that kind of created and perfected that surgery. And it's a very successful surgery. That's the good news, Burns, is they're able to take these high ankle sprains and get them fixed. And in a lot of ways, I've talked to players that have done this. They're like, I really wish I could do this voluntarily. My ankle is actually stronger after the tightrope surgery than it was before.
That's interesting. It's almost like the Tommy John surgery for ankles. It'd be like, all right, in the off season, everybody's headed down to Birmingham. We're all getting tightrope surgery and ready to go. So if I'm not mistaken, I mean, the amount of, I don't know that many surgical terms, but it feels like the tightrope surgery. Wasn't that what Tua had a while back?
It was. Yeah, he was one of the early ones that I think they did it on. And so to use that time frame and the normal recovery time is 4 to 6 weeks. So somewhere in that 4 to 6 week period is where you can.
Brock will play in 2 weeks, basically.
He's superhuman. Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, Tua had it right after the SEC championship game. And about 4 weeks to the day later, they're at the Orange Bowl. And I remember being down on the field. I don't know if you're at that game, Alabama, Oklahoma.
No, that wasn't.
And as a Dolphins fan, go Dolphins. I can tell you, Hard Rock Stadium, the surface can be a little bit tricky. They get a lot of rain down there. It's shared by two teams. That was a new surface they had put down for the game. And Tua came out early to run on it with a lot of supervision just to see what the surface was like. Had that surface been slick, he was not going to play in that game. Mac Jones was going to play. But they felt like the surface was going to hold up fine Jalen Hurts was going to play, not Mac Jones, Jalen Hurts. They felt like the surface was going to hold up fine, so they cleared him to play in that game, and he played. So if you look at that window, that was 4 weeks. Brock Bowers, you would probably, best case scenario, I think absolute best case scenario, have him back at Tennessee. Probably expected scenario at Georgia Tech. Probably worst case scenario, he can't even play in the SEC championship game. And then you look at the playoffs.
Yeah, the worst case scenario, if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan, he goes, hey, you know what, man? I've got 2 national championships underneath my belt. I've got a bright NFL future ahead of me. I'm probably going to be a top 10 pick. Might be time to just rehab this thing. Now, there's nothing about Brock Bowers in my mind, Brownie, that makes you think that this guy says, hey, it's all about me. I'm done. I don't need this. I can't, risk my NFL career on it. But, and I think Kirby's smart enough to know as well, too, that, hey, if all of a sudden he rushes a guy back for the sake of the team as opposed to for the sake of the player, he'll be negative recruited on for years on news. But I still don't think, I don't think Brock Bowers is a guy that does not want to play for Georgia. I think he's competitive as hell. And I also think Kirby's not a guy that would force anybody to play. I think he's secure and he loves that team, and he loves Brock Bowers is brought to that squad. So, listen, I'm guessing on these timelines. For me, I look at it and go, it's a tough second half schedule for Georgia, but as long as you can have him back against whoever it may be out of the West in Atlanta, feels like to me the right the right time frame, right? Because you probably wouldn't want him to put out there a go against Georgia Tech late into that game. So if you're going to get him back and quote unquote rush him, all right, is it Tennessee? Is it Ole Miss? Or are those a timeline that works? Maybe. But I would probably just say, hey, we want you to be in Atlanta. You tell us how you feel. And if not, Ladd McConkey, you're up. Oscar Delp, you're up. Rose Meade, like all those guys. It's now time for that recruiting class to kick in.
I feel, obviously you feel awful for Brock Bowers. I mean, this is, his last lap around. Chance to make history, being 3-time champions, national champions. Nobody's done that since Minnesota did it pre-World War II or whatever it was. But I mean, this is a guy that had gotten some Heisman talk. I think he had a legit chance of being a Heisman finalist. I really do. The way he was playing right now, and I mean, just the truth is, even especially as a tight end, you can't miss 1 or 2 games and be a Heisman finalist, much less a month of the season. So I hate that for him. I mean, I really do think, just on a personal level, he'll be fine. He's going to go make a ton of money in the NFL and earn every dime of it. But I do think there was a legitimate shot. He and Jayden Daniels from the Southeastern Conference were going to get some of those Heisman looks.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend for the SEC when it came to Heisman Trophy kind of candidates. Because I don't know if we have under the eventual winner here in the SEC, but I mean, you look at Bowers, he had to play flawless, and he already had a couple of off games early in the season where they were trying to find the offense with Mike Bobo and Carson Beck. Now this surgery will definitely end that. On the flip side of it as well, too, Luther Burden gets a little bit banged up. He doesn't have a monster game for the Missouri Tigers. They continue to win, and had he had some monster game and done some electric stuff, which Eli has done in that game plan for the Tigers so far against Georgia, he might have been that guy. So I think we're down just to Jayden Daniels being the lone person that has an opportunity to get invited to New York, truthfully.
Yeah. Doesn't this show you, though, Peter, how hard, and when we say it is impossible to go undefeated in the SEC 3 straight years, it is impossible to win 3 straight national championships. It's impossible to win this many games. You never want to try to project injuries, but this shows you why those things are impossible. It's hard to go through the gauntlet of a tough conference like that and not get key guys that miss extended periods of time.
Yeah, and poor Georgia, they're going to have to downgrade from a 5-star superhero to another 5-star Oscar, another 5-star guy that they just like, and then they'll have guys that just like walk on sometimes that are just like, I'm a preferred walk on. Well, this guy would play for 85% of the rest of the country. And I mean, that's the difference with Georgia football right now and everybody else, including Alabama, is that they have the depth to withstand an injury here and there. They already had to do it early this season, right? So I mean, I think it's something. There's a reason why Kirby. There was a couple of games early this season where I look at the box score and there were 14 wide receivers that caught a ball. I'm like, how the hell is that even feasible? Like, how do you have 14 wide receivers on your damn roster?
I know.
It's just a matter of playing younger guys and getting them ready to play, and now they're going to have their opportunity. So there's no good time for that. It sucks for Brock Bowers, who, by all accounts, every time we talk to coaches down there, they say first guy to the meetings, first guy to practice, works hard, works his ass off, and I just hope that he gets better because I don't want that to be the last time I ever see Brock Bowers.
No, limping off a field in an active construction zone at Vanderbilt does not need to be the way he leaves college football, right?
But I'll be honest with you. If Brock Bowers says, hey, man, I'm not ready to play again, and he's never played another down of football for Georgia football, I would be disappointed as a fan, but my brain would look at it and go, I absolutely 1,000% understand. Now, I'm sure that he has some type of insurance policy through Georgia, but this kid has a bright future, and he's given everything to the Georgia Bulldogs. So it's going to be interesting to monitor the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, fans often are not reasonable, but if you're a reasonable Georgia fan, you would look at that and say, this guy has given us far more than we ever expected, right? I mean, he's a tight end that was in the Heisman discussion. And with him, we've won 2 national championships and a bunch of football games. He's given me everything. If he walked away and said, hey, I'm just going to get ready for the NFL, a reasonable Georgia fan will look at that and say, thank you for your service. We appreciate your time. You've done everything and more that we could ask for.
In an odd way, what the best recruiting pitch for Kirby is to tell Brock, hey, man, shut it down. I don't want you playing anymore. I feel like Brock's such a competitor to be like, Nah, hell no.
No,
Like, I don't care what it takes. Like, I'll do the Aaron Rodgers rehab, whatever it is, like deer antler spray that's legal or whatever. Like, I'm getting back on the field. And now the question is, though, as we move forward, how vulnerable is Georgia, right? Because they're not 2021 or 2022 Georgia right now. And I don't know how much Brock was the leader of that group, right? Like in the years past, you could probably say it was Stetson who grew into that role.
Yeah.
I would think it's Brock to where when people look at it, go, oh, yeah, 19's back. We're good to go. That's a concern I have is the leadership void as they get into the tough part of their schedule, including who they face in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Now, listen, we're going to talk. Oops, wrong way. We're going to talk about the third Saturday in October coming up third here.
That one.
Move down. There you go. Third Saturday. So
point the other way. What are you doing? You got to point the other way. The other way. Use the other hand.
No, it's on my screen. On my screen, I got it right.
Oh, okay.
Just in case. All right. So we're going to talk about Tennessee coming up in just a little bit, but that game in Knoxville without Brock Bowers looks a little more different than with Brock Bowers. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, assuming that Joe Milton somehow turns into somebody not named Joe Milton and plays that way, right? I mean, like that was a big win for Tennessee, right? Because I said, and I think we talked about it last week here on the Burnout, it was the fact that as much as Jimbo needed this game, the cake is already baked about what Jimbo is and what he isn't, and what A&M are and what they aren't as a program under his leadership. It's still being baked with Josh Heupel. And so to come off a bye week, to have that crowd, the checkerboard, all of it, and for you to answer, and more importantly, to win a game in which it wasn't a shootout, right? This wasn't the Golden State Warriors scoring 132 points and Steph Curry hitting threes from half court. This was 1988 bad boy Piston style football against the best rush defense, I think, in the SEC, if not the country, and they put up over 230 yards rushing. That was a big time, big boy football win for the Vols up in Neal.
More on Texas A&M in just a moment. The Burnout presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. Code next round, and you get that sign-on bonus, 110%. That is free money. You can play it right away, win with it once. It is yours forever. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Peter Burns is so clean-shaven because our friends at Manscaped have delivered product to his beautiful home there. And you love it, don't you? You love that Manscaped product.
No, I mean, seriously, the thing I like about it now is that if I want the scruff, I can just kind of go easy with the little, with the blade. But if I really wanted to, and I had to on Monday, I was like, all right, I need to be a little more clean-shaven. I literally used it, got all the scruff down, kind of tightened it up a little bit. So I'm all in.
You can go to manscaped.com, use the code BURNS, save 20% off your initial order when you go to the code BURNS. If you get that performance package, you just get all the great products there. The lawnmower is there, 4.0. It's got the guard. It's the adjustable guard. I love that one. The beard hedger is the one I use on my face there, so I don't gap the beard. You got the handyman, which is kind of the portable deal. The shears, the weed whacker takes care of the nose hair and the ear hair, so you don't look like some old man walking around out there.
The Manscaped underwear, the last time I got one, like I have a pair of it. It's fantastic. Like the two best pairs of underwear that I have is I stole Jordan Rogers underwear a couple years ago when we were on a spring tour. That's a different story. And then the one that Manscaped sent the last time I ordered something from them. So there you go.
Huh, interesting. And the lawnmower takes care of the undercarriage for you there. Manscaped.com, code BURNS for 20% off your initial order. Manscaped.com, code BURNS for 20% off. One day on this show, he'll tell us why he stole Jordan Rogers' underwear. I've got to hear the story behind that.
Just real quick, we were at a spring tour. It was actually at Texas A&M.
Okay.
And I'm notoriously bad at packing. And I packed everything. I was like, oh, man, I got all this stuff. And then I get to the hotel that night. And I'm thinking, all right, we got shows tomorrow. We're going to talk to Kevin Sumlin back when he was the head coach. This is how long ago that was. And I was like, up in the room, I was like, hey, man, this is going to sound really weird, but do you have an extra pair of underwear? And, of course, he had some like $85 pair of nice Jordan Rogers type underwear. So I wore them, and I vowed never to give them back. And so I thought about selling it on eBay because I probably could have gotten some pretty good money for it, but they were too comfortable.
I'll tell you, once I've given underwear to somebody else and they've worn it, I don't want it back. So I don't. Yeah,
I felt like that was going to be the case. So I was like, "Oh, I'll wash it, give it back to you." And he goes, "Nah, we're okay." And I go,
Just keep it. All right, let's talk about the Texas A&M Aggies. Are we seeing some Aggie regression like when this first started with Bob Petrino, the offense looked different? I completely understand they've lost a quarterback. I understand that. I know it's a backup quarterback. It's not your everyday backup quarterback. Max Johnson has a ton of SEC experience. But the longer this season has gone, the more and more that offense looks like the offense that Jimbo Fisher has had there for the last couple of years. Do you still see Bob Petrino's fingerprints on this deal?
Yeah, but I see also the reason why Connor Wegman was the starting quarterback and not Max Johnson. Like Max Johnson is, I think, a good, adequate quarterback. He is as good of a backup quarterback as you're going to be able to get. Is he a bona fide, I can go to the college football playoff with him at the helm? I don't know. When I watch it, every single play just feels like it develops slow. And I don't know if it's part of, the wind-up motion that he has when throwing the ball. There's just something about it that just seems like I'm watching it in like 0.75x speed. That's just a touch slower. And again, I mean, like, kudos to him. Did not, complain about it, put in all the work. He's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's the guy, and that's why we saw Connor Wegman, beat him out, frankly, because Connor Wegman had a little bit of a quicker release and had a little bit more, speed to him. So it's tough. I mean, what else can you say about A&M? I mean, I thought when you talk Aggie regression, you weren't going to talk about, this team itself offensively. I thought you talk about just the program itself of where we're at. I mean, now you take out 2020 where we didn't have fans, and they're talking he's 3-14 on the road. That's just, it's brutal right now. Yeah. And there's no reason for it to be that to be the case. And once again, though, right before half, there's a minute 30 left on the road, and he sits there, 3 timeouts, or at least 2 timeouts, and he just says, you know what, we're just going to take a knee. We're going to play conservative. Not even run 1 or 2 plays just to kind of see if they can get something going. And the fact that they're that conservative tells me everything I need to kind of know about how they feel about Max Johnson and their chances right now.
Yeah, and the losing probably is not over, and that's only going to intensify the red-hot spotlight on Jimbo Fisher and the amount of that buyout. But you're right. I mean, the program, this is just the truth of the matter. And Jimbo Fisher would probably tell you this if he were sitting in this seat, not me. There is not a college football program out there that pays their coach $9 million a year that's going to accept 25-20 in the Southeastern Conference or in any conference. And that's what their conference record is. You don't pay $9 million and think, hey, I'm okay with 25-20. It just, that math, I don't care where you're the coach. If you're Lane Kiffin, make it at Ole Miss. If you're Nick Sabin at Alabama, if you're Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, if you're Mel Tucker, who was at Michigan State, any of those guys, if you're paying that kind of money, you're not going to accept 25-20 in the SEC. And that's where you find Jimbo Fisher now in his time at Texas A&M.
Yeah, and again, I've walked down the plank enough times to where I'm like, I'm done. It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 453 times, kind of shame on me about Texas A&M. And I hate that, because again, like I'm that stockbroker that it keeps going back to a stock that keeps going farther and farther down. Buy. Like, just keep doubling down on it. Because I do believe they have all the bones there. It's just for whatever reason. Like Jimbo at A&M right now starts kind of feeling a little bit like Scott Frost at Nebraska. Yeah. Where on paper it really feels like everything should click. Like, and you just look at it and go, I don't understand it. Like, why just this doesn't work right now? But again, I give more of the credit to Tennessee. I think, what I learned about Tennessee this week is the fact that they are a defensive-minded team first, rushing attack team number 2, and number 3, a passing attack team. Like that's in that order, which is crazy to think when you're talking about Josh Heupel and after what happened last year between Hendon Hooker and those guys.
Yeah, and it was an impressive win the way they ran the ball on A&M, because even in the losses to Miami and Alabama, the Hurricanes, the Crimson Tide didn't run the ball on them. No. They won those games through the air. They were able to move the ball through the air, a lot of deep balls from Alabama. It was not the run, and it was the exact opposite in Knoxville Saturday. And I wonder if that makes you panic a little bit more, Bernsey, if I'm an A&M fan, that the one thing I felt reliably we had was a great run defense. The teams couldn't come in and just run it down our throat. Well, There you are in Knoxville, where a team just running it right down your throat. Joe Milton had 100 pass yards, and they still.
Yeah, I don't think there's any panic in College Station anymore. I think there's probably apathy, but I think there's no longer panic, and that's unfortunate. And that could have been the case in Knoxville had they lost that game. But now you start talking about, all right, Tennessee, Alabama, this is an interesting matchup, especially with that Tennessee defensive front and the offensive line woes that Bama's been having.
Let's talk about that game next. MyBookie.ag brings you the show. MyBookie.ag code next round gets you that sign-on bonus, 110%. That is free money for you when you make your initial deposit. They match it with a 110% bonus. You win with it. It is yours forever. All you got to do is win one time, and it's yours. MyBookie.ag, bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. If you're looking for a little advice, Lance Taylor gives it to you on lanceslock.com. They've got daily packages, weekly packages, monthly packages, full season packages starting below $100 a month. And you can get everything right there at lanceslock.com. Lanceslock.com. Take those plays over to mybookie.ag and win with lanceslock.com. All right, third Saturday in October coming up. Alabama playing host to Tennessee. You know, it's funny. When you look at this game last year, what was it, 52-49 or whatever it was? I don't know if the two teams combine for 49 points this year. It's such a different game we're going to see in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it feels like we went from Oregon, Washington to all of a sudden
Iowa, Wisconsin,
right? In year to year between these two teams. I think it's fascinating. But, you know, to me, this is a style of fight in which Alabama is prepared for. I don't know if Tennessee is, right? And if you told me, hey, which is a more electric quarterback, I'm going to go with Jaylen Milroe over Joe Milton. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, the question is can Tennessee on the road create, you know, turnovers? They've been opportunistic because that defensive front has been so good. I mean, James Pierce is awesome. I mean, like, we talk about Harold Perkins being a monster. What Pierce does for Tennessee is equally as dominant right now for him. But I don't know. Last year I felt that Tennessee had a chance in a track meet. For whatever reason, I just don't feel like they have that same opportunity. And I think it's just because I'm not used to seeing Tennessee win games like this. I mean, when Josh Heupel scores less than 30 points, they were 0-8. This was the first win he ever had in kind of this rock fight type bad boys, Detroit Pistons style football that they play.
You know, you mentioned, and I would think Tennessee would probably need to be +2 in turnovers to win this game. That is one thing Alabama is doing much better. They're not turning the ball over. Jaylen Milroe had a propensity to give it away a little bit, and he has cut down on the turnovers. Now, it's far from perfect with Alabama right now, but that is one area of great improvement for them, is they are not turning the ball over the way they once were.
Yeah, and again, every week we get the same Milroe experience. Like, holy hell, I have no idea what's going to happen. And all of a sudden, it's fantastic. I mean, he was just ridiculously bad in that second half. And then all of a sudden, Tommy Rees is like, we got to have a play. And he throws a dime under pressure that effectively ended the game. So, you know, and I love Milroe, by the way, because you and I have talked about it. The way that he addresses the media, whether it's good or bad,
such a good attitude.
And again, when you go back to Tua and you go back to Jaylen, you go back to Mac, like, there is something about, if you're going to play quarterback and QB1 at Alabama, and even McElroy was so, you know, well polished and well versed on all of this stuff. Like, you got to be a dude. Yeah, that's a special place. And I got a ton of respect for Jaylen Milroe. And I'm not an Alabama fan, yet I pull for the kid. Well, absolutely.
Yeah, he seems like a really good kid. I've not spent much time around him, but everybody I've talked to in Tuscaloosa really loves the guy. So,
and by the way, this is by far the most exciting, fun Alabama season that we've had in a long, long time. Like, I know 2020 you were blowing people out, right? And you've won national championships before, but the fact that you wake up every single Saturday and you have no idea what the hell to expect, like, that's what it feels to be alive as a college football fan. Trust me, as an LSU fan, I have no idea what's going to happen each week with LSU. And so for Bama to understand this and to still win, I think it's brilliant and fun to watch. And I think Tide fans need to understand, like, this is okay. This is how the rest of college football world feels right now.
I'm curious, with you growing up in Louisiana, obviously over the last 15 years, this rivalry lost a bit of its luster because Tennessee wasn't very competitive with Alabama up until last season when they played that classic game in Knoxville.
Yeah.
But when you were growing up, it was a more competitive rivalry, obviously. Where did this register for a kid growing up in Louisiana whose family was an LSU family?
75th on the list. I mean, like,
really that bad?
Like Bama, Tennessee was never really that thing because you always want your rival, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, growing up, LSU Alabama wasn't like LSU Ole Miss or LSU Auburn, right? Or even how we've seen Florida to a certain extent. It's not over until like the last, decade or so that we saw LSU Alabama take on this huge game of the century type feel. So, I think from afar you understood it existed, but it was never like how I understand it when I listen to Alabama players and I listen to former Tennessee players that we work with on the SEC network go, bro, like this is hatred. Like there are groups of people that do not like each other in this rivalry. So that's why I hope it's a fantastic game, and I think it's going to look completely different this year than it did last year.
I think you'll find too, like if having grown up in Alabama, the further north up I-65 you go towards the Tennessee border, the more and more it gets intermingled with Alabama and Tennessee fans. Like, south, Birmingham and south, it's more intermingled Alabama and Auburn fans, right? Sure. But the further north you go, the more those Tennessee fans have come in there. And you talk to people that grow up in the Tennessee Valley, this is as big as the Iron Bowl to them.
Yeah, my favorite picture, and it was a famous picture of Alabama. I think it was a wide receiver who scores a touchdown, and he's just doing kind of like the "Are you not entertained?" to the crowd. Yeah. It's just that one Vol fan that's sitting there, and I won't do the right one, but he's
giving you that. Yeah.
That was the ring finger, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Good man.
And like I'm like that is it. Just hashtag it just means more sometimes.
Here's Peter Burns of the SEC Network and ESPN. The show Burnout presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. Code next round gets you that sign-on bonus, 110% of your initial deposit. That is free money to you that you can play anytime. They're in MyBookie.ag. You only got to win with it once. It is yours forever. It's not one of those deals you got to win 5, 6, 7 times. You can play that. The money bag. They've got great player props. A casino, they got everything at MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on and use that sign-on bonus. The code next round to get that sign-on bonus, 110%. Also, Rowback.com. Not only does Burns use the Manscaped, he wears the Rowback. They got those great soft hoodies. They got the quarter zips. It is quarter zip season with the weather getting cool. They got the wonderful golf shirts. We have got Rowback pants they have sent us. Burns, they are the most comfortable pants you've ever put on in your life. It's like wearing pajama pants that look nice enough you can wear them to church. Okay, so you find me that combo, I am all in.
I'm in. Listen, I joked around because yesterday it is getting a little bit cooler here in Charlotte, and I'm like I got to get like even more of the Rowback stuff because I'm on like a 4 Rowback hoodie rotation, and I'm like, people start looking at me like, dude, are you a hobo? Like, is that all you got? And then they feel it. They're like, okay, I get it. I understand.
Code TNR20 at checkout to save 20% off your initial purchase. They're at Rowback.com. Code TNR20 at Rowback.com. All right, let's finish up with the Florida Gators. They kind of look dead there in Columbia, and then all of a sudden they come to life late. Tough loss for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks. Huge road win for Billy Napier and the Gators. That's something he has not done at Florida, is win on the road. They now have a little bit of life. They now go to a bye week before a cocktail party, and they're playing a banged-up Georgia team. We talked about it earlier. No Brock Bowers when they come out of this bye week to play the cocktail party. The Gators, should they be baiting me in here? Is this a different Florida team? Is Billy Napier got this thing turned around?
I mean, listen, I was not a believer in Florida football early this season, right? And a lot of it was like, it's Graham Mertz and it's 80% completion, but I didn't feel like it. And then watching that game, and albeit South Carolina's defense is not, the 85 Bears by any means, but just watching him and the leadership that Mertz has is nothing short of fantastic. I mean, and I had him on my show this morning, and I was pissed off that we actually had Graham Mertz on the show because I walked away from that interview like, how in the hell am I ever going to pull against this guy, especially when LSU and Florida play, Brownie? Like I'm supposed to dislike the Florida Gators when LSU plays them because me and Chris Doring have this great bet. And I'm just listening to Graham Mertz, and I'm like, I'm a 44-year-old man, and I want to be more like that guy. He's just, certain guys walk into a room and they just have this leadership quality. And I'm watching the kind of the raw feed of the Florida South Carolina game, and I'm just watching him after big plays, after they score the first touchdown that gets him close, how he's hyping up all of his guys, right? And it's not just kind of, you can tell he's having conversations with his guys, like leadership conversations, like a head coach would with some of these players on offense, on defense too. And I think that he won over that room. I think it's tough for these transfer quarterbacks, or any transfer, but especially these quarterbacks, Brownie, to own the room day one. That's tough. You walk in, there's 130 guys looking at you like, all right, what are you going to bring to the table? I think that win right there in a hostile environment, everybody's like, bro, let's go shock the world. And you're playing with house money right now. No one expects you to beat Georgia. Like open it up. They did. It worked. Ricky Pearsall is unfreaking believable. Like a live team right now.
It's a weird deal. Like if I had told Florida fans going into the bye you're 5-2, I think they would have been like, I don't know if I like 5. I'll take 5-2 through 7 games, I guess.
Yeah,
that's at least improvement. It had not felt like improvement until this past Saturday, for whatever reason. But you look at it 5-2. I'll say this: you take away one bad quarter, and you can't take quarters away. I get it. Take away one bad quarter from Florida football at Utah, and this is a pretty good team. I think you look at this team a little bit differently. Now, what happened in Lexington, I don't know.
It's interesting because if you take 5 minutes away from Florida against South Carolina, you're 4-3, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh my gosh, they can't win the game. How did you lose to South Carolina? And they're not good, and that was just disgusting. So I just think that that's what we're having. We're having so much inconsistency. Like we've been always we've watched SEC football, and by week 3 or 4, we knew pretty much exactly what was going to happen. You'd see an odd upset here and there, but right now it feels like an NFL Sunday where it's like, wait a minute, why are the Panthers up 14-0 on the Dolphins? Like, what the hell?
I don't know, but you know what? They couldn't close the deal. The Dolphins
They did. But again, I was really impressed with him. But defensively, I'm more impressed. Let me be positive about this. The job that Spencer Rattler has done when he has no offensive line right now, they don't have as many playmakers, especially when Juice Wells went down, has been nothing short of fantastic. And I'm like, I know there's no college football free agency or trade deadline, but if there was, the greatest trade that would be concocted is to say, Spencer Rattler, you've been traded to the Tennessee Volunteers to play quarterback for that team for the remainder of the season, and you get like 3 or 4 like recruits or draft picks down the road, because that's the only thing I think that Tennessee's missing right now from being honestly a college football playoff contending team is the play of Joe Milton, and Spencer Rattler's that's the only thing right now that feels like it's working for South Carolina.
You could drop Rattler on a lot of teams and make a vast improvement. I mean, Alabama is one of them. Auburn is certainly one of them. Auburn can't throw the ball to save their life right now. Rattler would completely change that team.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that it would make them a championship contender, but it'd make Auburn a much better football team. There's no doubt.
I'm sure you guys have talked about this. Best quarterbacks in the SEC. I think you start with Jaden Daniels. I don't think that there's a doubt. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate right now.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 would be who?
Beck had played very well of late. I think overall full picture, I still go Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, as far as if you had one quarterback to play in that game, but I'll be honest with you, after watching Mertz,
he's there.
He's there, and he has that opportunity. And the Florida schedule is just brutal down the road. And if they could get 2 more wins, I almost consider this a great season, or just one more win if it happens to be, in Jacksonville.
I would say this too, KJ Jefferson, especially in the second half against Alabama. The guy gets no protection, and they've got no running game right now. He's having to do a lot by himself. Listen, man, that play he made to throw Terry Arnold off and run. I mean, that guy's he plays to the horn. So I mean, I would like taking KJ Jefferson into battle. I'm not going to lie.
More upset on Monday morning when they're watching film over in Tuscaloosa. Is it Nick Saban when looking at how bad they played when they were up 24-6 and how they let Arkansas get in, or Nick Saban when he sees the film and footage of himself trying to make the joke about the gnat on the cow's ass and
he fumbled
up the punchline? Like, that just ate at him that he couldn't hit the punchline right.
Yeah, and you could tell he's processing it in his head. Is it a fly on a cow's ass? Is it a gnat on a fly? Is it a gnat on a cow's ass? That's it. Yes, yeah.
It's you could just tell that he was not happy with that whatsoever.
All right, thank you to all our sponsors that bring you the burnout. Let's run through the codes real quick. MyBookie.ag, code next round to get that sign-on bonus, 110%. That is free money. Free money. Manscaped.com. Burns gives you 20% off your initial order at manscaped.com with all those great products. Code BURNS, 20% off. Code BURNS. Roback.com. Code TNR20. You save 20% on your first order there at roback.com when you use code TNR20, and no code needed at lanceslock.com. Just go sign up and start winning games with Lance Taylor at lanceslock.com. They bring you the show. It is the Burnout with Peter Burns. Thank you very much for the time, Burnsy. Enjoy your football weekend coming up.
See you next week, Brian.